Guys, I can't see the YouTube chat again. It's all gone wrong. Sure, it'll pop up eventually. Yeah, no more edging, lads. Back it up. Keeps trying to make me insert ads. Yeah, get in there, ghosts. You tell them. Don't give them any happiness. I did not expect them to come out with this today, I gotta say. Now, I can see you beyond yesterday. I've changed my setup. Austin's trading was buffed. No jokers, though. No jokers. They held as firm as they could on that. Well done, Starbreeze. Okay. Now, do we just sit here in total silence, or do I play some, like, lo-fi Payday music? Like, not in silence. You know what I mean. Do we sit here like this? Or do I put on, like... And what happens if I type in lo-fi Payday beats on YouTube? Payday 2 vibes and lo-fi beats. What? No way. Hang on. Wait, hang on. Is that... I thought that was the shark mask. Does it sound right? 1 hour of smooth heist vibes, dude. More reaction content? I know. Bro fell off. Why can't I get both chats on one screen? Didn't used to find this hard. Make it a tad quieter. Do that. Ooh! That's allowed it. Payday beats to relax / study to. Give the link right now. Drop it in the Twitch chat. Why can't I do that? This might explain the problems I'm having. Here we go. Sorry, YouTube chat. I can't be linking you to other YouTube videos. Owlboy sounds. It's huge. Yeah, I don't play games anymore. I just do React content. The video is kind of legendary as well. I love this. He's just sat there, like, moving his owl mask around on the TV. Now that's good content. What a great video. Whoever made this, 10 out of 10. Alright. Yeah, we will be raw dogging it. No gritting, no edging, no rushing. Take it slow. React Andy to the Bib trailer. I mean, that's a pretty legendary trailer. I was really hoping chat would fix itself, but it hasn't. Multi-chat platform support. You say you got it? Where is it? Where is it? I want to see what my YouTube bros are saying. The subscription, yeah. I don't know if you guys saw my tweet. They properly smokescreened us with this. Like, hit us with something kind of crazy. And then be like, oh, yo, guys, can you guys subscribe to our Payday newsletter? $5 a month, please. Okay, so let's look at this as let's look at it as generously as possible. For anyone just joining, we're talking about the fact there is now a subscription model for Payday 2. Pay a little bit of money. $5. That's not necessarily a little bit of money, but That's the monthly cost. You have access to, as far as I know, all Payday DLC until Payday 2 DLC, until they inevitably remove some more because licenses run out. I'm not being charitable, am I? But I can see as a new player who maybe wants to try this stuff out for 1 month, don't intend to play the game any longer than a month. Maybe it's good value. But let's be honest, we all know what people are gonna do. Alright, I'm not allowed to say it. You guys are. You're free to say it in the chat. We know what PC bros are gonna do when they see something that's gonna involve zero ownership and the options are readily available. What this is, this lo-fi has got me going. What this is an opportunity for them to get a new revenue source. Because boy, do they need it. Yeah, Geek, spot on. I can see some value there, but I think for the most part, people are going to circumvent it. You know how? And otherwise, it's just not going to make the money they expect it to. It's mostly going to piss people off, I think. But yeah, they properly snuck it out today, thinking all the content creators would be distracted arguing about Skills 2.0 in the Payday Discord. No, sir. I do that in my spare time. Okay. YouTube chat, I still can't see you. People talking about edging. That seems about right. That part of the course, lads. What part of the course? Multi-stream, I found it! Hello, friends. I can see everybody. Yes. Okay, I can see everybody saying terrible things now. That's wonderful. Alright. So, if you've been living under a rock, or you, I don't know, like work a full-time job, I've just dragged it across the screen. Let's have this side in. Like this side in? Nah, this side in. Because my face is in the way a little bit. In fact, maybe my face should shrink down. Nah, if I do that, I'll never get it back. Yeah. This lo-fi is doing things to me, man. So yeah, Skills 2.0 were fully revealed today, kind of out of the blue. It was Payday 3's birthday yesterday. I said during the stream, it's a weekend, I'm not exactly surprised they're not doing anything. But here we are. Maybe I'm just better off with blank space there so you guys can see everything. It's not like there's... Yeah. Go with that. That looks better, doesn't it? Edging is over. Yeah. So, I'm not going to read everything Sebastian's written here, because a lot of it is Sebastian guff. And I love it. Razzle dazzle and all that. But, like, what does it actually have to do with the new skill system? Yeah. Well... Some of the interesting things is the fact that the current system has received a lot of mixed question mark feedback, making it clear we need to change something. I was saying earlier in the Payday Discord, like, Edge Grip Rush was tainted goods. It didn't matter if they put together the most perfect overhaul for it. It wouldn't bring players back, at least not for a long time. You know, it would really require that word of mouth, because people were just put off by it. The timers on it were frustrating. We've moved away from having as many timer-driven skills, as I'll get onto in a minute. But there are still quite a few, so there will still be some annoying skills to use, I'm sure. If you guys just want a broad overview of my feeling on this, I think the overarching change is going to be positive for the game. I understand the frustration some people have with it essentially leaning on Payday 2's design philosophy in many, many ways. I know a lot of people are concerned about the numbers being too high. I think that's not going to be the end of the world, to be perfectly honest. I think there's going to be a surprising number of changes going on in the background, not only to how weapons are balanced, but also how the cops are balanced. You get an idea of it. I've seen some of the initial design documents. I don't really know how much I can share, but basically, cops are going to have layered armor now. Health is going to be increased, I think pretty much across the board, but especially on harder difficulties. There is going to be scaling health. I know people like that there wasn't. I like that there wasn't. I think this is a necessity, the way they've decided to balance the weapons and the skills. Welcome back, Jules. Yeah. I don't think it's going to be insane. I don't think they're turning the enemies into bullet sponges, and they're going to have to be really careful with how they do it, bearing in mind how many cops flood the map now. But it's going to be interesting. And you'll see certain skills and be like, how the hell am I going to be doing 300% more damage with my pistol? Like, how is that ever going to be balanced? The answer is you might need to be doing 300% damage with your pistol, okay? I don't know the ins and outs of the... I don't remember the ins and outs of the plan for HP scaling. I think it's more like they're going to have scaling armor, okay? More layers, harder to break armor. You'll see when we get to the assault rifle tree, there's a lot of skills based around that. The way I think this is going to benefit the games, I think it's going to give some much clearer archetypes which you can build into. They're not finalized on how it's going to be balanced, how many skill points you're going to have, how many skill points things are going to cost. All of that is still up in the air. I actually think, my personal take, is that the skill point should scale. So the higher up the tree, it should cost more, Payday 2 style. It shouldn't cost as much proportionally as it does in Payday 2. But with that in mind, they're going to have to change around some of the placements of skills, because there are some top tier skills, like the highest tier, likely to be the most expensive, that are kind of ass. So they need to get that right, okay? Yeah, so as you can see, all numbers, descriptions, functionality, cost, basically everything you see is whip. Now, I think launch is going to be way sooner than I expected. I thought this would actually go through a testing phase. From seeing what Patrick said in chat today in the Discord, it looks like it's not going to have a public testing phase and it's just going to go straight to live. They have real pipeline problems, so I understand why this is the case, but that is going to frustrate some people. Adorable Eevee. The new system is looking incredibly interesting. I think everyone on all sides can say incredibly interesting. I think it's going to be a game changer for Payday 3. I don't think it's going to be the thing that brings Payday 3 back from the brink. I think it's definitely going to contribute to this Year 3 AK revival. Yes, they did release a subscription option for Payday 2. I talked about it just a little at the start of the stream, but essentially my thoughts are, what are you doing? It's evidently meant to be a new source of revenue, a new income stream, basically. Starbreeze, they need some. And I think they feel like they've got a lot of content in Payday 2 that's being wasted, especially the more recent stuff they released, where it's still quite expensive and not that many people decide to own it. So I can understand vaguely the thinking. I think it's going to push people in the opposite direction, and I don't think it's going to work out. But they've just kind of snuck it in there. I guess one way of looking at it is it literally changes nothing. You don't need to get involved with it, but it may give you some insight into the sort of way the devs are thinking. Okay? What does the subscription option mean in one sentence? You get access to all DLCs at a $5 a month cost. For Payday 2, not Payday 3. I'm going to bring this down a little, because I realize I lean into the mic a lot, and it means I go out of frame. You think skills will still cost 1 point, but you'll have to own a skill from the bottom tier? I think currently, all the screenshots we're seeing, especially this one where you see points in, I think they all cost 1 point. I don't think it's meant to say 0 points active, but see, it says 12 points activated up here. The UI looks like it's work in progress, but yeah, the icons and things are kind of nice. I'm here for them. I think they're an upgrade on what we had. Some of them are reused, like Focus Fire over here. But yeah, I think the way it works is 1 point there, 2 points there, 2 points there, and that's sort of the way it counts up to 12. The weird thing is this number 8 we're seeing all over the place. I've worked that out. That just seems to equate to the number of, like, points in general. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Wait, that doesn't count to 8. Oh yeah, but it starts at 1. So it's 7 points plus the 1 it starts at. I don't really know, because that should be the counter. These bottom skills all have sort of multiplicative effects based on how many points you have in the tree, but as I understand it, it's just the line, not the whole tree. So, no idea. Maybe a placeholder? Yeah, almost certainly. 1 point basic, 2 points when aced. I don't think that is currently the way it's set up, but that might be viable. My feeling is really they should have scaled points. Even if it doesn't scale as harshly as it does in Payday 2. You know, the top skill could be a 6-3. This could be a 4-2. This could be a 2-1. These could both be 1s. Something like that. Basically, I think they're going to have a hard time balancing, and there's already some skills I've picked out as, like, crazy strong. One of the most interesting things about it, though, is the fact it's split into these separate trees. So we're going to have 6 trees total. There are stealth lines. There are mostly loud lines. Some of the stealth lines have loud skills. It's a little all over the place. Kind of trying to go for the skill line design at first. But, yeah. The interesting thing about the design is... Okay, it's moving on its own. If I have skill points, let's say I've got skill points aced up to tier 3 to unlock Beast of Burden. You can see it here. I can just head across over and grab Scavenger, Sudden Impact, Ammo Funnel. Ammo Funnel? I've just noticed they've changed the name of that, right? Or have... Yeah, they have. They have. It used to be called Breaking, but you can already see from when the screenshots were taken and the descriptions were taken, things have changed. Right? I'm not losing my mind. So it's very much subject to change. I think they're insane for calling a skill Ammo Funnel, by the way. Like, it could do what Ammo Funnel does, and it kind of does. It's a little bit different, but it kind of does. But why would they name it that? What, are they crazy? Yeah. Ammo Funnel is tied only to ARs and LMGs, plus it has an additional stipulation, which might make it low-key ass. Okay? Neo Funnel? Why not? Why not? Give the man his credit. Anyway, moving on. As I said, that's sort of the interesting functionality. The way they've been split into like, overarching trees, like Mechanic and Ninja, feels a little bit funky. Like, why is Fog Machine, for example? So you got SMGs combined with predominantly like a stealth-style tree. I think actually maybe this has dodge, but like dodge, SMGs, smoke grenades. Is that going to turn into a playstyle? Maybe, but there's nothing stopping you going for like SMGs with an ammo build or something like that. I think it's pretty interesting. Anyway, let's move down. Is there anything I've not mentioned? Yeah, so the bottom skill tree skill is a scaling skill. Every single skill can be aced. We don't really know how the tiers are going to be implemented and how the costs are going to work. We don't know how many skill points we're going to have. All of that is still in testing. God knows when this is coming out. I assume, based on the fact they're showing it, this is coming out in 2025. But yes, a lot of these skill designs are Mio's. Mio left the company over 6 months ago now. But a lot of the sort of concepting and the overarching system, a lot of Mio's work before Mio left the company. And Starbreeze Partners saw a really early version of this a long time ago. Cops are after me. I don't know if you guys can hear that. Yeah, so Armor 2.0. I don't think Overskills were really Mio's, but Armor 2.0, Skills 2.0, very much like his initial concept phase. Yeah, so we'll see what Build Freedom turns into. We'll see how well the like cross-tree system turns out. I think it's a good idea, and it's a way to try and get the spirit of what the initial design was. I think the number one concern I see from people, and whilst I don't fully share the concern, I don't think this is going to be a massive issue. It is something that that I see worrying people. That is the fact that they're very much sort of weapon and equipment tied. So Commando, ARs, LMGs, Grenadiers, grenades only. There's none of that sort of weapon agnostic skill line design anymore. It's much more focused, which is similar to how it worked in Payday 2. We'll see how that works out in the long run. I don't know. I'm on the fence with it. I don't think it's a bad idea. I think it's allowed them to be more focused, and I think these playstyles are going to be way more distinct than they ever were in Payday 2. However, it's the kind of thing we're going to have to test before we know. Payday 2 had some generic skills that applied overall. Yeah, and so will Payday 3, right? You know, your sort of medic and your armor trees, your equipment skill trees will feel a bit more like they apply to everything. But then you have your more damage-focused trees. They're not. It'll be interesting to see if the way the game is balanced, it feels like you need a damage-focused tree. I think it would be a shame if that was the case. But again, we have to see. You can immediately tell why they haven't made a lot of balancing changes over the past year when you see how sweeping the changes coming with Armor 2.0 will be. Okay? And I generally agree. We're going to have a proper run through, I assume, with some discussion of Skills 2.0 when we get introduced to Jonas on October the 2nd. I think there's going to be a bit of a Payday style day on October the 2nd with a few other announcements, which will be cool. Yeah, I will be giving individual insights into like where I think skills are bad, where I think skills are going to be broken, where I think the numbers are overtuned or undertuned. My general feeling is the reason why I immediately am like, I am going to enjoy this more is because we're talking percentages in the like 50 to 100% when it comes to skills. Edge Grit Rush, 10%. Skills on top of that, 5 to 10% in Payday 2. You wouldn't feel them. They didn't feel that relevant. That's a massive change. And that's why something like Ammo Funnel, that didn't work at a percentage, or Replenish, that didn't work as a percentage, that's why they were so overpowered, right? What about pre-planning? Year 4. I don't know. That sort of thing, it feels like it's a little bit out of scope right now. Massmania 2.0. Just give us 1.0, guys. Yeah, I think upping the percentages is going to be... You're going to immediately feel it, and it's going to have that sort of tangible impact on the player base. It's like, oh wow, I feel like I have a build now. Okay? Disengage is busted, okay? Let's just immediately... When we get to Bastion... I don't know why they've done this. This skill needs nerfing without me even touching it. I actually think my original feedback on this was that it needed nerfing. I think it needs nerfing further. Anyway, let's start off with the Juggernaut skill line. This is like a tank-focused skill line. It has armor bag skills, right? So certain skill lines will have what I would call kind of boring skills. All the weapon skills do, all the throwable skill lines do, and all the equipment skill lines do. They're like, you can now carry more of X item into the heist. So we'll skip over those quite quickly when we get to them. But extra protection, at every point in this skill line, gain 1% damage reduction to armor chunks. So that's not health damage reduction, which is interesting. It reminds me a lot of what they did with Frenzy. Bastion Overwatch, not quite. So total DR can't exceed 80%. Now, the question is, what are they going to do with Armor 2.0? What's going to happen to resistance plates? I think they're going to get nerfed. I don't know, but I think they're going to get nerfed. So I think there's going to be way more headroom for increased damage reduction. But as standard, if you were to pick up every single skill point in this line, that's a 12% damage reduction. I don't think that's super strong, but I think the rest of the line is quite powerful, so it could end up being really good. If you ace it out, you get... Now, you don't even want to go into the maths of this. An additional 0.05% damage reduction per skill point for every point of trauma your current armor chunk has. What that means is, essentially, in terms of feel, as your armor plate gets closer to breaking, it will become more damage resistant. It can become quite significantly more damage resistant, I would say. We'll have to see how this works out. It could be totally busted. The skill needs more than better wording. I actually think it's just an overly complicated skill. But effectively it is. As your chunk gets lower, it becomes tankier. Okay? I think this skill is going to be up in the air. It looks pretty good on paper, but the numbers are like... could mean literally anything right now. Armored up, like I said. This is just armor bags, additional armor bags. In this case, it's more charges in armor bags. We already have that skill in Payday 3. Headguard. So one of the disappointments that we'll get through to later is we've kind of lost the armor gate on kill style that Anarchist had, and we had again with Plate Up and Replenish. Instead, it's this skill Headguard, which feels like it's more designed around trying to make those really long armor regen moments shorter. So, for reference, right now, the resistant plate is a 1 second regen time. You get a single headshot kill, it's going to be cut down to 0.4 seconds. That is pretty fast. You get a double kill, instant regen. It feels like a slightly nerfed version of Replenish. My main concern is, how is this actually going to work? Let's say I pick up 3 headshot kills, and I've got 12 seconds of armor regen time. I think that's the most you can have in the game, right? And I pick up 3 headshot kills. I'm down to about 10-ish seconds. If I then get hit, does it reset and those headshots count for nothing? I have no idea. So again, headguard's a little bit confusing in how it's worded. I think if you're playing like a one-plate build, it might feel really good, but no idea. No idea how it's actually going to play out. Speculatively, as like a bullseye type skill, would be great. Armored Up 2, it's just more armor bag stuff, although when you ace it out, you get an extra armor bag, a little bit like the transporter skill gives you. I agree, by the way, like real fake Sooth. The whole game needs rebalancing. It's totally out of whack right now, which is why a skill rebalance is going to be... It could be a catalyst for Payday 3 being a far better game for everybody, right? People with all sorts of preference. People who prefer edge, grit, rush, prefer the sort of more hardcore challenge the game released with at launch. I know we were joking about it yesterday, but this is the possibility for a blank slate, which is massive. Beast of Burden, this is Transporter. This skill is going to still be super OP. I guess the only thing that holds it back is that it's now going to require some investment, either in this skill line, or at least in the wider... Is it called Soldier? Soldier, yeah, the wider Soldier skill tree. You're probably going to want to pick this up on all builds, which feels like a shame. My take on Beast of Burden, get rid of it, cut it, give everybody the ability to carry multiple bags, but make the weight penalty pretty severe. Because as it is, you basic this, you can get 2 bags. You ace it, you remove the movement penalty for the second bag, and it's basically how Transporter used to work. Yeah, I agree. There is a bit of a loss of skill combos. There's a few I'll get onto later. I think things like handguns are going to be so interesting. There's some handgun synergies, there's some marking synergies. I'll get onto those later, but I agree. Payday 3 was actually alright at launch for sort of skill combos. Pinpuller soft assets, yeah, everyone loves a bit of Pinpuller, apparently. Don't think I've ever seen anyone actually use it. Yeah, I don't either this skill should be super accessible, or it should just be part of everyone's base kits. I think Beast of Burden, great skill, obviously, but I don't love the way it's been done. Bastion is OP. Cloakers are, and whether they still will be when this update comes out, they are the most frustrating enemy types in the game. They're a massive problem. Up there with snipers now, snipers were buffed. Bastion might as well say cloakers no longer exist, right? A 30-second disengage. Cloakers don't spawn much more than once every 30 seconds. So you're kind of free on that one. And we're not even counting zappers here because those guys stink. But because of it's only a 30-second cooldown, you could easily use it up on a zapper. So I think cloakers are a problem in Payday 3, and I think they should just be redesigned like as enemies. But we know they have an issue in terms of like AI capacity, AI programmer capacity. We're not getting the AI to do it. Which means the cops aren't going to get massive sweeping changes, I don't think. So I think nerfing the cloaker by giving us an OP skill is the way they've decided to go about it. I'm not super into it. And then the ace is hilarious, but it's ass, right? The no movement penalty from the Nader's gas cloud is already like a skill in Payday 2. It's okay. I don't think people love it. Sorry, in Payday 3. I might keep getting my Paydays mixed up. But automatically deflecting the Dozer's Bull Rush is hilarious, but like, just shoot him in the head, dude. Unless Dozers are really hard to kill with the new armor changes, in which case it could be great. I don't see the Ace version as being very good, but I feel like the basic version is going to be in everybody's build. Payday 3 subscription when? You know, if the Payday 2 one is successful, you know they will. Much harder to pirate the DLC, I think. Keep saying Payday 2 because it's just Payday 2. Alright, Kizu. I wonder what they mean by deflect. I think what it's going to do is it's going to play the animation. Have you seen the stumbling animation? I think when dozers take a substantial amount of damage when sprinting, it happens so rarely you barely see it, but when they take a certain amount of damage or some condition is met, they can fall over mid-sprint, and I think it's that. Wait, there is a Payday 2 subscription up? Yeah, link it, KMD. I think I'll be able to see it from the multi-stream chat. Okay, good. Like, they're not going to do it. The only reason they're doing this, right, is because they're struggling to... They think they've got a lot of value locked into Payday 2 that they're struggling to sell. So the subscription model makes a lot of sense to them. I don't think they feel like they've got a lot of value locked into Payday 3 yet, so I don't think they'd be comfortable doing it. Anyway, we're going to be here all day at this rate. Let's move on to Commando. So Commando is the assault rifle LMG skill line. Immediately it introduces this idea of armor penetration. Armor penetration already exists within Payday 3. It's a hidden stat on every weapon. Probably shouldn't be a hidden stat. Definitely shouldn't be a hidden stat. But effectively, it's been the one stat they've messed around with a lot since Payday 3 came out. We used to have a skill called Cutting Shot, which just gave us 0.1 armor pen. And back then, that was actually huge, and it made a big difference. It made a lot of weapons that were like 2 or 3 shot kills into 1 or 2 shot kills. Super strong. But it's really difficult for me to say what 0.1 armor pen, or what can actually be 1.2 armor pen, what that's going to look like in game. It sounds like a lot to me. It sounds like it could be really powerful. But with the new armor design, new cop armor design, the layered armor, God knows if it's good. This is interesting, the ace, because it increases by a potential 25%. So this is reload speed increased by 25%, but it can be increased to 50% with all skills in the line if you're reloading an empty weapon. That's pretty impactful, I guess, for what we assume is just a single point. Stockpile. Okay, so basically every weapon setup has one of these. They're really boring. It's just carry more ammo into the heist. It will probably be staple on every single loadout that's focused on that weapon type, or it's going to be totally ignored because the ammo economy is way out of whack again. I've got no idea, but sounds fine. Can't get too excited. Focus fire. Each hit with an assault rifle LMG grants a 2% accuracy boost until you reload, swap weapons, or miss a shot. This accuracy bonus no longer ends from missing a shot. Instead, the bonus decreases by 2% per shot missed. This is a bit rubbish, I think. Accuracy doesn't ever feel bad in Payday 3, like Payday 2, where it felt like bullets would go in random directions. I can't think of a single weapon that feels really inaccurate. Maybe the Blythe Bruta does, but even that I don't feel is bad at all for this. I don't see a purpose to this. I think you're going to end up sitting around 10%, like a 10% accuracy boost, and be like, why have I bothered? Even if you have it aced out, it's just going to be 10%, 12%, oh, back down to 10%, back down to 8%. Focus fire to me doesn't look particularly great. Maybe that is the idea, like continuous fire into a bulldozer, bearing in mind every single shot you land on that bulldozer is going to count for 2%. Let's say you shoot like 30 shots, that's a 60% accuracy boost. You will be turning into like a laser beam by the end. And it synergizes with ammo funnel, dare I say, because that's preventing you from reloading, right? But God knows. I think focus fire just looks bad. Hollow point rounds, on the other hand, sounds kind of crazy. So 15% more health damage might be useful, might not. We have to see how enemy like cop health ends up working. What is interesting about that, when you ace it out and you're getting 20% increased health damage, is will that go directly to the cop thanks to armor penetration? I assume yes. That is going to be how ammo funnel works. You're going to have to kill cops without breaking their armor, which clearly assault rifles and LMGs are going to be specialists at doing because of their access to all this extra armor pen. So it's going to circumvent the layered system, and instead you're going to be doing direct health damage. Funky bit of design. No idea how it's going to work out. We'll have to see. I don't know if the Payday 3 subscription screenshot is real or I'm just being lied to here. But yeah, I think this is a really interesting sounding skill. My main concern with this is, this could be the best way to play, right? They might buff cop armor a ton, and the layered armor feels impossible to break, and the only way you can do it is with hollow point rounds. With this new skill system, the only weapons that are going to be viable are assault rifles and LMGs. So, a bit of a potential double-edged sword, but I think it's interesting. Breaking point, again, more armor pen. So armor penetration for assault rifles and LMGs increases by 0.05 for each hit that does not penetrate an enemy's armor. There's a few skills like this. They feel complex to read, but effectively it's when bad thing happens, eventually good thing will happen. On paper, I have no idea. Probably good once you have the aced version, and it might be sick for killing bulldozers. So the reason why the Red Fox is so good at killing bulldozers is because it basically, the armor penetration on that weapon is so high that it just ignores their armor. Dozers only have 300 health, so they die instantly. So maybe if you've got an LMG, you can fire at a bulldozer, and within like 10 shots, you're already hitting their health pool, and you can kill them really quickly. I have no idea. On paper, this looks a little clunky, and I think I'd rather just have my Rifleman armor pen. But I guess you're also getting additional Rifleman armor pen when you pick up these skill points, so God knows. It might be incredible. As a playstyle, it doesn't seem that interesting to me, but we'll have to see just how impactful like pop health and armor is. And yeah, another LMG would make a big difference, bloody bandana. Like, give us another weapon to use it with. RPK. Anyway, ammo funnel. Everyone's favorite skill. Blows my mind. Why didn't they just call this replenish, dude? It would have been funny as hell if they had. Yeah, the RPK has been teased. It was in the Smash and Grab trailer. So if you kill an enemy that still has armor intact with an AR and LMG, you automatically receive their ammo drop. That is just how ammo funnel works, except there's no longer edge requirement. We can no longer edge, remember, boys. Keep that in mind. But obviously the caveat is you need to be killing them without armor. Here's the problem. Everyone else's weapons is going to be destroying cop armor. So if you pick up a kill on just an enemy who's down to their last health, because someone else was shooting at him, you won't get your ammo funnel effect. I had another really cogent point and I've lost it. Sure, it'll come back to me. There's another issue with this skill. The other issue is that it might not just be your teammates are shooting them. There are loads of weapon types and skill types that make it so that enemy armor is stripped faster. Like, there's a skill, I think, for flashbangs or maybe shot grenades that like can strip armor pen, or can strip armor, meaning your armor pen effect is not going to work. So when playing in a team, ammo funnel might be really frustrating to use. I'm immediately a little bit concerned about that. Yeah, anti-synergy in the team. So I don't think ammo funnel is going to be amazing. My main concern with ammo funnel as well is, like, let's be honest, ammo funnel was made for shotguns, dude. It wasn't for LMGs. It wasn't for, like, ARs. It's for shotguns, and they've lost it now. So I feel a little funky about it, but they've done some interesting things with shotguns, so, like, the Mosconi might still be all right. We'll get onto that later. But yeah, the second effect is actual ammo funnel. So this is replenish, right? That's ammo funnel. Whatever. I think if they make this a big point dump, I won't touch it in a million years. Unless, like I said, like the AK meta pops up and we have to use it. Grenadier. This is the first of the throwable base trees. I know Mio, when designing Payday 3, enjoyed the throwables a lot, and it was sort of a big focus. You will see that a lot throughout these trees. They're some of the most interesting lines in the game. When I get to the throwing knife one, I will be going crazy because I think it's so unique and so cool. But we're going to hydrate, though. We are getting Payday 2 style skill trees. Some differences, some similarities, lots of similarities, Keezy will tell you. Okay, frag grenades. So, first of all, again, more kind of vacuous numbers, but up to 120% more damage with all skill points in this tree for bombs away. That's quite a lot on paper. That sounds like a lot. I don't know exactly how much damage frag grenades do, but if they're doing more than double that, probably pretty good. Also, it will increase the radius by what? 6 meters? That's pretty significant too. So, all-inning this tree could be interesting. Stockpile, like I said, kind of boring. It's just a skill that lets you bring more frags into the heist. Might not feel all that necessary when we see certain other skills, like Scavenger, which is back, but in a slightly different way. The Piglet will, in fact, remain dog shit. Enemies injured by your frag grenades suffer an additional 15% damage from all sources. You will find a lot of skills like this, which immediately makes me think the cops are going to be significantly tankier. Because if we need, like, mark for death effects on cops, that means, like, there has to be a reason to mark them for death, right? They must be pretty damn tanky. So if they're getting hit by just the edge of a frag grenade blast and we still need to do 45% more damage to them to kill them, they're going to be pretty tanky. Whether that works out well or whether that works out poorly will be interesting. That, to me, is more Payday the heist design, though. Like, shooting tasers 10 times to kill them kind of thing. Frags do 150 damage with 2 armor pen. Yeah, but I don't know whether they still will after this. But yeah, that actually probably makes sense. Doing about 350 damage. God knows how it's going to interact with armor pen with all those changes. It'll be interesting. It'll be interesting. I'm becoming a fan of War Scout now. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Sudden Impact. This skill already exists, sort of. They now explode on impact, exactly as they used to. Except this used to impact all throwables. The other throwables have something to compensate for this, so don't worry too much. But if a frag explodes by colliding with an enemy, it deals an additional 60% damage. So again, upping the damage. And I assume it means the frag deals an additional 60% damage to everyone, not just the enemy it collided with. So that could be pretty good, and actually rewards you being accurate with them. Scavenger is pretty much Scavenger from Payday 3 already, except it's a slightly nerfed or adjusted version. It used to be 10%, but you needed edge. Edge is gone. No more edging. Now it's just 5% at all times. Does that mean you're going to be picking up more throwables? Probably not, actually. Most builds kept edge up all the time, and so I'd say 10% with edge was slightly better. Maybe a little bit of a nerf. Mad Bomber, this is also a skill that kind of exists. I'm not super enthused by the normal, like, basic version of it. When your frag explodes, gain a 25% chance, or it grants a 25% chance to restore one frag grenade. I'd be intrigued to know if this works with the Markham Mamba and its little mini grenades. I don't think it will, but conceptually, like the aced version, I get what they're going for. So we also get mini grenades from the aced version that deal only 30% its original grenade damage, or 100% if you've got every goddamn skill stacked up anyway. And then the smaller grenades have a 10% chance to restore one frag grenade. So essentially every throw, you got a 45% chance to get one back, which would be kind of crazy. But yeah, go on. Let me run a full grenade build, whip out the piglet, and just instantly restore all my grenades. Could be funny. The infinite piglet meta. Finally, they've made it not useless. Okay, so that's the first skill tree, right? That's the first one. It's a tree with 3 trees, but all of them are kind of connected. So if I was going to theory craft, now I won't do this for all trees, but if I was going to theory craft, I would say something along the lines of a commando-focused build, getting most skills, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then I finish it off with like Bastion up here. And maybe I get a couple of points in Scavenger because it's such a good skill. So there we go. That's my conceptual base build from the soldier tree. And I'm sure I'll have more skill points to use in different trees, but that would be how I'd do it. And I do think it's kind of neat that I can just access Scavenger at all times. Or I can just access, Beast of Burden I skipped out on. Definitely access Beast of Burden. Yeah, no blast shield, so you will be hurting yourself with your frags. That is a really good point, Nathan Frank. Maybe I should send him a message about that. Your boy's going to just be blowing himself up all the time. Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? Because the Mamba has a skill now, like in its overskill line, that prevents it from hurting you and civs. The grenades won't. Floor fragging just got a lot worse. Gonna start working on a demo for the new skill system on devs. Oh, amazing. Thank you so much. I think that's going to be really helpful as well for people putting together like concept builds. Legend. See, and I know like you basically did the same thing when the initial skill lines came out. Okay, guys, we got dodge back. Okay, I know we already had dodge in Payday 3, but it was ass. Misdirect is a bad skill, and I will fight little guy G for it. So, dodge this. For every skill point, dodge is weird in this game. It's got a lot of inspiration. It's clearly taken a lot of inspiration from like Sicario in Payday 2. For every point in the skill line, gain a permanent 2.5% chance to dodge incoming damage. Your maximum dodge chance decreases by 20% for each active armor chunk. First of all, does that mean what I think it means? And secondly, can I just dodge that? Pardon the pun. So, every point in the skill line, remember, 12 potential points. That's a 25% chance to dodge. Does that mean if I'm running one plate, I only have a 5% chance to dodge? Because that sounds ass. And keep in mind, you can't go down to no plates. It's not possible in Payday 3 right now. You have to have a frame with plates in. So, this is a little perplexing to me. Especially when armor's so good. But then the other question I have is, right, you don't need to pick up base skills in skill lines. So can I just go over this one and get the other dodge skills? If so, looks like an oversight. Yeah, frag yourself to get rid of your blue player. It just seems silly. I don't get this. I don't get this part of dodge, but you'll see how dodge can get a little crazy later on. I also hate this skill. In fact, I need to note that down. Standing still for 2 seconds increases your dodge chance by 2.5% for every point in the skill line. So again, up to a massive 50% total dodge, minus the 20% for having a single chunk. I don't want to stand still for 2 seconds, though. That was the problem I had with Sharpshooter in Payday 3 at launch. I get it conceptually. It's like, holding your breath, and then you go, and you make the run. It's kind of like heist movie themed, but that skill kind of annoys me. You don't think the skills will cost 1 point each? I think currently that's still up in the air. I don't think they should cost 1 point each. Put it that way. But yeah, the negative on dodge this, I just don't understand. Because in theory, if you could avoid that, you could have a full 4-play armor build still accessing dodge. So, interesting. But yeah, dodge this, hater. Flow state. Taking non-environmental damage increases your dodge chance. They really thought about us jumping off cliffs to try and become the best dodger around. Increases your dodge chance by 2.5% until you perform a successful dodge, increasing to 7.5% per damage when aced. Pretty solid, I suppose. The thing is, nothing in Payday 3 right now hits that hard. The shotgunner hits pretty hard. The bulldozer hits hard, but frequently. It's a lot of bullets. So, do I really care that much about dodging a single thing? I don't know. I feel like the dodge tree is a little bit of a nostalgia bait. But Judo Chop, this is sick. This is actually a stealth skill. Quick melee and unalerted guard to kill them instantly. Sign me up for that. Any guard kill with a Judo Chop must be examined closely by guards and civilians before they realize your victim is dead. This used to be a skill in CQC Specialist, I think, where you did it with a takedown. It was actually an alright effect, although it was pretty rare that you just left a guard out in the open. So, interesting one. But I just like the idea of being able to bosh them like that instead of having to do takedowns. Just funny. That's the kind of roleplay skill I can get behind. This is the kind of shit that Badger picks up for a video and makes the whole video around. You know what I mean? Under pressure. Successfully dodging any damage restores 2 points of health. That'll stack anytime you dodge anything. When health is at maximum, those points are also converted to adrenaline. Adrenaline is going to stay pretty much the same. In fact, it's going to be added to stealth gameplay as a bit of a rush surrogate. So adrenaline is still around. It's effectively overheal for anyone who doesn't play Payday 3. Yeah, I don't feel like 2 points of health per dodge is going to be that good. However, if you're dodging all the time, it could be incredible. I don't know. It all depends on how much dodge you can kind of get base. If you can get to roughly 50% dodge base, maybe under pressure is good. But when I look at it, without standing still, and without having no armor, it's pretty difficult to get to 50% dodge base. So I'm not sure. Locksmith is another one. I don't feel like this should necessarily be so high up such a random tree. But this is just a skill that already exists in Payday 3. It's the instant unlock, although the Ace version allows you to perform a melee to open the lock door instantly. Also, I noticed they call it quick melee, so maybe the melee system will come, guys. Maybe it will. Yeah, to instantly unlock it instead of breaking it. I just kind of like that. That's going to be good. It's going to be a fun utility in stealth. Am I worried it's going to be too much like Payday 2? I've seen that concern shared quite a lot in the chat. I totally get their perspective. I really do. I think the skills are fundamentally very different to Payday 2 skills. But the system overall, it could end up being quite samey. We have to see how it plays. On the run, when sprinting or sliding, and for 2 seconds afterwards, your dodge chance increases by 15%. This is actually a basic skill or an aced skill in Payday 2, funnily enough. That it's a 10% dodge. And then aced out, you shoot and reload SMGs while sprinting or sliding. Another Payday 2 skill, funnily enough. Did I just say there are not many Payday 2 copied skills? I think this is going to be kind of rubbish. I wouldn't mess with this. If it's a high point investment, on the run just feels terrible. It feels like it should be way further down the tree. Payday 2 coming back into the update cycle and then trying to push Payday 3 in the same direction. Yeah, that would be a little perplexing. We need to know what the hell they're doing with Payday 2 first, rather than just making people like pay for a subscription. Payday first or Payday 1. Yeah, I don't know. I do understand the concern. I really do. You need Payday 3 to have its own identity. I just don't think copying the overall like skill progression system is going to take away its identity. Tap sprint and it's infinite? Yeah, theoretically. So you do kind of have access to a theoretical 15% dodge at all times. We have to see how dodge feels in game. My immediate thought, just because it's been the meta since launch, is that damage resistance and tankiness is like the absolute best stat to have. So I'm kind of biased against dodge subconsciously. Moving on to SMGs, I think SMGs are going to be really strong. I like the skills quite a lot for SMGs. So, SMG Adept is going to give you additional damage into enemy armor. This is interesting because it's anti-synergy with the AR LMG skill line. Because you're now gonna be destroying armor faster, which means they don't get the chance to pick up kills on armored enemies. Kind of funky, right? Payday 3 has no identity. Yeah, it's got a little, a little something there. For a time, its identity was that everyone hated it. We need the UE5 port for extra bad performance and confirmation of no melee system. Well, UE5 thing might just happen. We'll see. For every point in the skill line, SMG recoil is reduced by 2.5%. That might be alright. I think I'd rather have recoil reduction rather than accuracy, which is what we were getting for the ARs. So I think this is okay. Stockpile, same boring ammo skill for SMGs. When you break an enemy's armor layer with an SMG, that enemy becomes heavily staggered. So this is, I think, the first mention of armor. No, that's not true. Oh, it is true. It's just we're going from bottom to top. This is the first mention of armor layers. Like I said, it seems like cops are going to be divided into sort of armor tiers. My assumption is that basic SWATs, the SWATs that come at you at the start, so beat cops won't have armor, probably. Then your SWATs that come at you at the start of the heist will have 1 layer of armor. Then your heavy SWATs might have 2 layers, scaling up to 3 on harder difficulties. Something along those lines. I've got no idea exactly how they're going to balance it, how they're going to split it between different units. For example, I'd love to see sabotage squads come with more armor, or hostage rescue squads come with more armor. It makes them more unique as enemies, it maybe makes them more of a threat. Get Randy Pitchford on the payroll. You know what? Yeah, if only it was Randy, not AK, making these changes. So yeah, this is heavy stagger upon breaking that armor layer. Could be good. Stagger skills have kind of gone out of fashion. They were a little bit OP in Payday 3 previously, so I can see why it's happened. Thanks, Azur. I will be covering the skills separately in their own video. I just thought it would be fun to go into the skills in the sort of level of detail I like to before I make the video, and to discuss sort of theory crafting ideas with you guys. Now, this multitasker skill that when it's aced is really cool. Perform a quick melee on an enemy while wielding an SMG to reload it instantly. Cooldown every 10 seconds. Maybe a little bit on the lengthier side, but I think this is actually such a cool skill. I really do. I know SMGs generally reload quickly, but the idea of like weaving a melee attack into combat is something I said was like in Payday 3's wheelhouse from the get-go. If you guys watched my stream yesterday, I talked about this. And they've finally done it. I knew, guys. Yeah, the FBI van probably should give an armor buff to cops, and maybe it will after these changes go through. I have no idea. When you break an enemy's armor layer with an SMG, the enemy suffers 10% additional damage from all sources. That sounds kind of rubbish, right? Bearing in mind just hitting them with a grenade can make them take 45%. And that scales up to 30%. I don't know. It really depends how many armor layers they have, because it does mean from that first armor layer on, you're going to kill them way, way faster. Cracked again, it's a skill you're going to have to play around with to know if these numbers mean anything. And we're going to have to see what the enemy armor is like. When you use an SMG to kill an enemy within 6 meters, gain a buff, I guess unnamed buff, I hope they call it edge, that increases your SMG's hip fire accuracy by 35%. Every time you kill an enemy with an SMG from further than 6 meters, gain a buff that increases your ADS accuracy with SMGs by 35%. This is essentially just an accuracy buff depending on your playstyle, and you can actually switch between the two playstyles and just get more accurate SMGs. Again, accuracy is kind of a funky stat. It does help on hipfire, I suppose, but I never find that my SMGs are too inaccurate. That's never a real complaint I have, so I've got no idea how this is going to feel. Maybe they're going to play around with accuracy and stability stats. I have no idea. Killing an enemy with an SMG increases both of those stats, regardless of distance. Fine. Probably avoid that, is my take. Like, just take the base version. It basically does enough for you, right? If you're killing them up close and personal with hipfire, great. If you're killing them from distance, you're going to get ADS accuracy. Great. Like, why would you need both? I don't know. Seems a little counterintuitive to me. SM Genius. Oh, also, some of these skills have really funny names, and I rate them. When you reload an empty magazine from your SMG, gain a buff that increases SMG damage by 5% for 10 seconds. This buff can stack up to 10 times, and its duration refreshes when you reload another empty mag from your SMG. Once the buff reaches its maximum stats, it can no longer refresh and will expire after 10 seconds. Question. Not necessarily for chat. Question for Debs. Is this going to be multiplicative? Because if so, that 5% is going to turn into much more than 5% across 10 instances, right? This could be crazy, or it could be really jank. I have no idea. The way it generally is designed to work, also, there's a second part of it when you ace it out. The duration refreshes whenever you break an enemy's armor layer, which I guess you should be doing a lot with SMGs, and it can now stack up to 20 times. So that is more. If it's 5% linear, that's 100% more damage with SMGs, but you're only going to have 100% damage with SMGs for a total of 10 seconds before you have to build it up. It's just like revving up that engine. It could be really cool. It could be really fun to play around with. I like the idea of, fighting some regular SWATs, really building it up, and then running at the bulldozer with 100% more damage, or even more than 100% damage, depending on how it scales. That sounds kind of cool and like a decent design idea. I don't know whether this is going to make SMGs that strong overall, because, again, we just don't know how the armor system's going to function. Keep saying that, but it's true. But I do think it's a decent concept. The buff being forced to fall off eventually is weird. I think it's because otherwise you're going to end up with 100% damage on SMGs at all times. Like, if you know what you're doing. I think what they wanted to avoid was another combat reload situation where you're just perpetually looping it. Having to mag dump 20 times sounds terrible, yes, but the aced version that lets you get the bonus... no, you're so right, actually. I think I've misread that. So the duration of the SMG damage bonus refreshing makes it easier to stack, but it won't stack another one, will it? No. Okay. Okay, that's way worse than I thought it was. Combat reload is kind of fun. Nah, dude, I was playing like the most recent Call of Duty, and I was trying to prop my combat reload because I had Juggernaut in the bottom of my screen. It messed up my brain. I hate it. If this skill is good, depends entirely on whether the duration and the stack is added when you break an enemy's armor layer, I'm imagining. Because otherwise, it's just the world's slowest stacking buff that involves losing all your ammo. I have ADHD and it's stimming. I try not to, I try to stay calm and relaxed. We'll see how that works out. I think SMGs look interesting at the very least. Heavy Smoker. For every point in this skill line, the range of smoke grenades increases by 5%. Okay, I think smoke grenades are going to be busted. Totally busted. We'll get there. But yeah, so you can increase the range by like 30%. Or, no, sorry, 160%. It's every point, not every 2 points, yeah. That's quite a significant amount, right? That's not bad at all. 60% increased radius. The duration of smoke grenades increases by 7.5% for every point in the skill line. You can have them for a long time. Okay. Almost 100% longer, so almost double the duration. If your loadout contains smoke grenades, get more. Simple. Enemies affected by your smoke grenade deal 20% less damage while caught in the cloud. This is already basically a skill in the game, and it's already a pretty good skill. It used to require grit to be active, I believe, to function, and it was really good. It lasts for 5 seconds after they leave the smoke. You might see me chuck smoke at dozers sometimes. Not only is that to get the dodge effect it provides, but it's also to to get this damage reduction. It's good. This damage penalty increases to 60%. Crazy. Crazy, crazy strong. I think this is going to be really good because this is cop damage reduction. So we know damage reduction caps at 80%, right? But that's only for the... I've just realized my lo-fi is about to stop. God knows what's going to play next. That is only for damage coming towards you. Like, that's your damage reduction. This is cop damage. So that's damage mitigation. This is cop damage reduction, let's say. Turn on looping. You're so right. Forget you can even do that with YouTube. Hang on. Tabbing. It's crazy that you can increase things playback speed to 4 times these days. What were they thinking? I'm just going to play it now. Thank you, Owlboy. You haven't been able to hear the music? It was way too loud for me. I could put it up a little. It's meant to be chill background, dude. Picking it up on the desktop audio. Maybe I'm just loud as hell and you've had to turn me down. Ah, 4 times is only for premium. Who the hell's watching videos at 4 times speed anyway? I watch all mine on 2 times, and I don't blame you if you do, but not 4x. Okay, smoke screen. This is Sicario again. If you have any chance to dodge, it doubles while you're standing in smoke grenades cloud. Could be really good. And if you have no chance to dodge, you just gain 25% dodge. Even whilst fully armored, right? Not a bad skill at all. Your smoke grenade clouds apply this damage bonus to all crew members. Wait, damage bonus? Oh, dodge bonus. I just misread it. So, yeah, that's pretty decent. Good for doing objectives and things. Good concept skill. Don't know whether I'll actually ever run it because I generally value damage over dodge, but again, sounds alright. I think this poisonous gas is gonna break the game. The dodge cap, as far as I know, is like... It goes up to 100%, but it resets. Oh no, that won't be possible, right? It's pretty high. It's just most dodge providing things are temporary. So I don't think there is a dodge cap. You got 25% on that. And then I think otherwise it's just this. 25% on that, 25% on that. So already actually that's 75% if you stood still and you've managed to get in smoke and you're not wearing any armor. And then if you just happen to sprint, that's another 50. So that's 90%. And then you can get this bonus dodge stuff. You might be able to get 100% dodge, guys. Hey, I can turn the music up a little. Why not? Stream overall is quite quiet, is it? It shows like I'm peaking like crazy on my mic, so I don't. I keep it down low. Dodge does sound like it could be absolutely insane. Something specified that... was that dodge capping at 80 or was that damage resistance? I think it was damage resistance capping at 80%. I don't see anywhere where it says it's a dodge cap. Maybe I'm just losing my mind. Hey, Commander. Yeah, damage resistance is... And I think it's always been capped at 80, hasn't it? But then, like I said, you can just reduce enemy incoming damage. Let's get on to poisonous gas. I think this is going to be broken. It might be ass. I don't know. Cops might have 1 billion health. But enemies suffer 10 points of health damage per second, scaling up to 25 points of health damage per second whilst in the smoke grenade. You can hotbox the shit out of the map. Like, you can basically almost double their size and their duration. That sounds like a lot of damage. Also, bearing in mind, it seems like the focus is going to be on tanking the cops up with armor. So they're going to have these armor layers. This goes straight for the health. And I think, will it activate ammo funnel? Does it have to be a kill? You have to kill them with the assault rifle. Okay, I was thinking it might activate ammo funnel, which would be monstrous. But no, I think poisonous gas is crazy. Or maybe DR was 90% prior to this update. It's going down to 80, which I can see. I can see the reason for it. I just don't see anywhere written that there is a dodge cap, but I remember reading at some point that there was. Anyway, this is another dodge skill, Escape Artist. If you become down with any smoke grenades in your possession, this is a crazy skill. If you become down with... I think smoke grenades are going to be meta, just a guess. Deploy a smoke grenade instead and gain a fixed 100% chance to dodge for 6 seconds. So this is like crazy swan song. No movement speed penalty. Alright, you can't shoot infinite ammo, but no movement speed penalty. It then goes on a 2-minute cooldown, which I think is probably roughly balanced. It also costs you a down. But because it doesn't mean, anyone has to get out of their way and revive you, it's still a massive save to the team. The only thing that I think holds this back is you have to think, and I realized this with the other skill, Last Man Standing or whatever it's called, that makes you immune in the game at the moment. Eventually, those 6 seconds are up, and you're just as close to death as you were previously. That's what tends to be the case. Now, you can just use those 6 seconds to heal up and survive the situation. Great. Sounds OP. But maybe it's held back by the fact you can't actually get that much done in 6 seconds, other than keep yourself alive. But yeah, Escape Artist sounds totally crazy. I think smoke grenades are going to be really good, and I think damage smoke grenades are going to be low-key insane. I think it could be a situation where we're hotboxing everywhere like No Mercy when they first added poison gas. Yeah, I don't understand. Any headshot you inflict... Sorry, I didn't even read the ace out. While this ability is active, any headshot damage you inflict while standing in a smoke grenade cloud is increased by 4,444%. Basically, it makes headshots a one-shot? Is that right? But again, it's 6 seconds. You got 6 seconds. It's kind of set up as like a... get out of jail free type thing, I guess. Like, clear the enemies who killed you. I like the idea. In concept, it's good. But, like... is it a typo? I don't know. It might as well say, like, one-shot kill everything in the head. If not. My immediate thought is this skill is so unnecessary and 6 seconds isn't that long. But, like, the ability to one-shot everything sounds kind of crazy. It's not a typo? Okay. Why did you go 4,444%? I don't remember reading that in the original version. Surely I would have been like, why does this say 4,444%? No, because oh, maybe it's the work on the skill that gives you health on dodge. That's actually a really good point. I assume that fixed dodge will heal you. The question is, like, how much damage are you going to be taking? How many instances of damage are you going to be taking in 6 seconds? Is it going to be enough to heal more than, like, 20 health? She is the number of death in Japanese. That's the entire joke. As someone who studied Japanese, I should probably be aware of that. That's a bit too, like... That's a bit too, convoluted for me. That's fun. That's fun, though. I generally really like the way the skills have been named and things. Okay, Sentry Operator. Like on the smokes, I think sentries are going to be mega OP. Although, like, I think at launch, sentries were really strong as well. Before weapons got as powerful as they did, and basically all the top weapons were one-shotting, I think sentries were really good. Gyro Teaser? Maybe. But I think sentries are going to be crazy. Basically because they have a skill that stacks damage infinitely. But we'll get onto that in a second. Again, you don't automatically stop the sentry turret. You need Sentry Operator to access anything above it. So this is one of the few skill lines where you are going to actually want to go from bottom up. And I think what always frustrates me a little bit about sentry skill lines is you basically have to pick up all or none. That's been the case in every Payday game. As in Payday 2 as well. And in the previous version of the sentry skills in Payday 3. It's all or nothing. But there are some really cool things. Rattlesnake sentries are going to be mid. You would. You would. That's probably because you land your shots, whereas I need other people to do it for me. Anyway, they work exactly the same in that they don't have ammo capacity, but instead they overheat, and as they take damage, they will overheat faster. But with every skill point here, you're going to up their ability to take damage and to shoot for longer. And again, you might as well all in on this one. So you're looking at 120% more. Also increases their armor penetration, so sentries are also going to be like killing through armor. Previously, they did have decent armor pen as well, I think. That's probably just to balance how they feel against most cops. We'll see. I did make a full-on outline around that cop, didn't I? Your crew receives 10% more ammo from ammo pickups while standing within a 2-meter radius of your sentry. I think this is a crazy skill because it's genuinely engineer gaming. Like, make a sentry nest, or conceptually, you're a real team player because you can get multiple sentries now. Quite a number of sentries, in fact. You could set them up around particular key points in the map and try and support your teammates like that. My problem with it is 2 meters isn't a very big radius, and it has to be ammo pickups. Unless they're running ammo funnel, it has to be ammo pickups within that 2-meter radius. So I don't think the normal base version of this is actually going to get a whole lot of play. But then you're probably going to ace it out anyway because you want your sentry to be able to look at 360 degrees of cricking its neck every time, you know? But I like the idea behind this. I think it could be fun to play around, but we'll see. Repair job. More engineer gaming. Perform a quick melee on your sentry turret to reduce its heat buildup by 5%. There's no cooldown timer on this. You can genuinely just be bashing it with your wrench. They got to add melee weapons now. We got them over a barrel. Yeah, this is, you'd think like not that relevant, but keeping your sentries low heat is going to get important soon. Your quick melee now reduces the sentry heat buildup by 25%. So 4 melees from all to none. And you can zap your turret with a shot grenade to cool it down completely. So there's some shot grenade synergy, kind of out of the blue. I do like that. They added the Jag to Payday 3. We can dream. The TF2 crossover would go hard. You can now deploy an additional sentry turret, so that's 2 turrets, and then you ace it out, you can deploy 2 additional sentry turrets, but all turrets build up heat 100% faster. Again, the question is going to be, do we just want super OP sentry that takes ages to burn up, or do we want 4? I actually low-key think this is going to be a skip skill, but we'll see. We'll see just how impactful that heat buildup is, but already I'm thinking sentry nests are going to be insane. Sentry turrets suffer a 20% less heat buildup from enemy attacks interference. Fine, that's nice, basically a skill already in the game. And that reduction can go up to 50%. I think that is slightly more than the skill already in the game. But then we got onto machine war, which is kind of ludicrous. Alright. When a sentry turret kills an enemy, its damage increases by 3%. However, that bonus ends as soon as it's picked up. So either it overheats or you have to move it. The sentry turret's damage bonus increases to 5% per kill, pretty good, and applies to all other turrets in your network. The group bonus no longer ends if you pick up a turret, and any case of overheating will only reduce the bonus by 20%. Now, okay, I think the way this is going to work is, let's say your sentry picked up 4 kills and is at 20% damage increase, and then you pick it up. It then goes down to a 0% damage increase. I don't think it means 20% of the increase will be removed. Otherwise, that would be totally busted. You could just stack and stack and stack. But regardless, yeah, you cook off cheese found 100%. If you can find a build that allows you to regenerate your stun grenades quickly, you just stack 2 or 4 sentries, depending on how much of an issue the overheating is. We'll have to see. And these boys could be doing like 5,000%. They could be making the 4,444% damage bonus look like chump change. Okay? So I do think Machine War sounds like one of the most ludicrous skills they've ever added. It's an endless stacking damage buff. The only thing holding it back is the fact it's attached to sentry guns. And they are so inconsistent. And moving them around is frustrating. Not as frustrating as it used to be. You can pick them up quite quickly now. We'll have to see if people actually pick it up. But in the back of my head, let's just say the engineer run it's already beaten itself. Okay? Howdy, Rednecker. Hope you're doing well. We're about halfway through the trees, and we've been going for like an hour and a quarter. That's not so bad. That's not so bad. You raise your turret like a Pokemon. Finally, the Juggernaut mod is back. I think it's kind of neat. I think it's fun. It's the sort of thing that like we'll have it for a patch. It will totally break the meta, and then like someone at Starbreeze will have to be like, we got to tone that down. Or no one will ever use it, and it'll just be featured in a challenge run like 5 years down the line. Okay, shotguns, I think, are interesting. First of all, if I've not made this clear enough already, weapon damage is going to be altered. The FSA is going to be adjusted. It might still be OP. I have no idea. We don't know yet. We don't know how it's going to interact with the new health pools. But it's not going to be the best weapon in the game, probably. So, yeah, 100%. Even at launch, turrets were really strong. I was saying that before. But no one ever touched them. I think they're going to be busted. But there is a tendency just to ignore turrets because they're a less involved playstyle. But you can whack them now. Who doesn't want to whack their turret to keep them alive? Anyway, Falling Shotgun. Again, the names of the skills are fantastic. For each skill point in the skill line, pellets receive a 2.5% reduction to damage fall-off. Pretty nice, it's just shotgun range over distance, 25% at max with all skill points. For each skill point in this line, the spread of shotgun pellets reduces by 2.5% while ADS. I'm so happy to see that because this is basically the Taz's special effect that it used to have, the Taz 12 when it came out. You used to be able to ADS to kind of choke it, and it would do way more damage over range because the pellet spread would tighten. I think this is great. And actually having an ADS shotgun style could be really fun. Because they've got rid of the way like Gunslinger and Sharpshooter worked, there's a lot more room for that now. I also wonder how many skill points we'll be getting, but I think it's going to really depend how much they decide to scale up the cost, if they decide to scale up the cost. My assumption is that you're going to be able to sort of specialize in like one overarching tree. So like a set of 3 skill lines and a half. Something like that. Or maybe 2 overarching trees if you're willing to spread a little bit more thin. Silverita, thank you so much. Thank you. And where's the Fortnite collab? Then Payday 3 will be truly back. Stockpile shotgun. Ammo reserves for shotguns. I don't expect this one's going to be as good as the others because, at least historically, shotguns have not had ammo problems whatsoever. Shotguns deal 20% additional damage to enemies within 3 meters. This is pretty straightforward, that. Although, like, 20% feels kind of measly, and then you see that it goes up to 60% later on. That's a big deal. That's a really big deal. That point blank alone could be enough to make, like, point blank aced especially, could be enough to make most shotguns kind of viable no matter what. Because that's the easiest damage bonus we've seen. But yeah, triple Mosconi to the bulldozer face. Can't do that anymore, by the way. No more ammo funnel on Mosconis. Annihilation. Shotguns deal 4% more damage for each pellet that hits the same target. This kind of sucks, because, like, how many pellets do they fire? Does anyone have a vague idea? I think it's in the region of, like, 12 to 20. So I think you're looking at, like, a 50 to 60% damage buff-ish across most shotguns. I think shotguns fire different amounts of pellets. Tell you what, this is an interesting skill to make certain shotguns stronger. But yeah, it's like a sort of focus shot type skill. It means spamming shotguns might be a little bit weaker, whereas precision shotguns like the Taz 12 or the Mosconi might be a little stronger. 7 to 9 pellets. Someone else in chat saying 16. 7 to 9 would put it at like 30% increase. Oh, and then it goes up to 10% per pellet. So that could be genuinely insane. With 160% increased damage from a shot, plus an extra 60% if you're close quarters. I think the Mosconi might just be 2-shotted bulldozers. That sounds pretty monstrous. But each shotgun pellet that hits an enemy, similar idea, I guess. They do want to sort of encourage shotgun accuracy. Your next shotgun reload is 1% faster up to a maximum of 70%. So here we go. We got rid of ammo funnel. Now we actually get some reload speed skills. Interestingly, this actually has some counter synergy I'll get onto in a second. But yeah, so and then you ace it out, it becomes much easier to get to that 70%. But yeah, when I think about it, like an FSA that has like 16 shots before it needs to reload, you're definitely going to be getting that 70% faster reload speed. Like, almost certainly even without the aced version. So this is just going to be a kind of good skill. Except for the fact it's going to reduce the amount of time you're going to be taking 50% less damage when reloading. Because Berserker is, I think it's designed as a skill to kind of accommodate for the fact that you might be reloading shotguns more. While reloading, and for 1 second afterwards, you take 50% less damage from enemies, but only at close quarters within 5 meters. So the idea is, you get your Mosconi damage off, and then you're like, shit, now I have to reload it. The boys in front of you aren't going to be hitting you so hard. And then reload and fire shotguns while sprinting. Take or leave that, to be honest. I think I've got so used to playing the game where I sprint, stop, shoot, that these sorts of skills aren't that useful to me, but they probably are useful to players who really enjoy that style, or have got really used to it from the skill already in Payday 3. Wait till I get to the handgun skills. They're wacky, aren't they? There's some really cool... The bounty skill's sick. Okay, Electrician. So this is the shot grenade skill line. And shot grenades were already... Shot grenades and smokes were probably vying for the best throwable in Payday 3 already. And I think they're damn good after this. The only shame is you can't run them because everyone will be using throwing knives. But we'll get onto that in a minute. So, shot factor. For each normal point in the skill line, the blast radius of shot grenades increases by 6%. Similar sort of idea to the radius increase on frags and on smoke grenades. And then you ace it out, you will get additional bouncers for each point. Up to 12 additional bouncers. It's pretty good, I think. I think that's going to really extend the duration of shot grenades. Stockpile is just an increase of grenades in your inventory. Done. The stun duration of shot grenades increases by 25%. Race duration of shot grenades stuns to 75%. So what I know is the buff between normal and ace is huge. So I'm almost certain. So I wonder if the way they're looking at it is like this costs 1 point, this costs 2 points. Because I mean, I guess they do. But then you're getting more than double. So maybe the approach is to go 1-2 on these, like they did in Payday 2. I don't know. No idea how they're going to balance the skill cost. Sorry. Flashbang is your current GOAT. I mean, throwables are just generally pretty good in Payday 3. I like not having to deal with shields, though. That's the beauty of shot grenades for me. But yeah, this just seems pretty good. If you're running shot grenades, it's not going to be bad to have. Shot grenades now pulse 2 additional times before expiring, and destroying a zapper's battery or landmine restores 1 shot grenade. This is good. Zappers are kind of food right now. They appear frequently enough on heists currently that they can be a pretty good store for this. Similar to a skill that exists for the ECM skill, and will still be existing after the skills are changed. Fine skill, and it will make more of a pure shot grenade playstyle better, but I still think I might be inclined just to go for Scavenger in the first skill tree. Each time a shot grenade pulse hits the same enemy, that enemy will take 10% additional damage from all sources. That can stack, by the way, so that can be a pretty significant amount. Goes up to 25% when aced. So what? You're looking at about 100% more damage if you've got them stuck in them. Safe assumption is this will not be balanced until 2028. I don't think it's going to release balance, but I think it won't take too long to iron out what the really OP things are. Finally, highly conductive. Each time a shot grenade pulse hits an enemy, they lose 1 layer of armor for as long as they are stunned. So it's only during the stun. They get the armor back immediately after. Enemies killed while affected by your shot grenade will emit an electronic pulse. This sounds so cool. It's just a shame it's not endless, because that would have been genuinely insane. This new pulse benefits from all of their Electrician skills, so things that extend its duration and potentially strip them of armor. But yeah, the only enemies that will do the additional shot grenade pulses will be those that were hit by the first shot grenade. So you won't be able to shot grenade everyone on the map in the craziest domino effect ever. I think this is cool. It's a bit of a gimmick skill. I don't think people are necessarily going to build around shot grenades. They'll still be more of a secondary utility. But this armor stripping skill might be amazing. Again, we have to see how armor layers work in the final product. I'm going to need to see it to believe it, because so far the changes pace has been slow. Yeah. Yeah, I hear you. I hear you. Now, we're onto a stealth skill line. Black Hat. A lot of this is staying very similar. I think this is one of the only skill lines, though, that frustrates me a little bit, because it stumbles upon itself in the whole loud stealth thing. So, Security Expert just gives you the ability to hack cameras. Really good skill. It's going to be core to virtually every stealth build, and it gives you a runtime. For those of you who aren't aware, as it was previously, runtimes are going to be a kind of currency related to hacking things. So it could be hacking a camera, it could be hacking a drone. As you see, when you ace it, you can still hack drones. In stealth, it will remove the stealth drones from the map for 7 seconds. In loud, it will allow you to control the techies combat drones, although you don't see that done all that often, because techies are kind of public enemy number one, and they get taken down quite quickly. I know some people really like this skill, so I'm pleased to see it's still in the game. My only feeling is, why don't... So does the other drone, the one that normally takes away your... Oh, what the hell is that going to do now? So there's... the techie's drone that removes edge, grit, and rush. It's got removed. I mean, maybe it's going to do something else. Maybe it's going to be like a flashbang drone. It already sort of has a flashbang effect. Disable you from gaining other kinds of buffs. Yeah, they could make it so it like strips you of whatever buffs you have active. I think that might be really frustrating with a more complex, buff system. It's just going to stun you now. I'd be fine with that. That would probably be the right play. They're easy enough to take out, and it would be cool to hack them and actually stun the cops for you. Yeah, weird one. Spawns a cloaker. It's alright. I've got that one skill that lets me just disengage immediately. Pump up the jam. Fantastic skill name. Active ACM jammers mark cameras, FBI vans, and all special enemy types for your crew. Kind of a niche skill. Mostly for loud, right? Although it does mark cameras, but I don't see it getting a whole ton of play. If your loadout contains ECM jammers at the start of the heist, receive one additional ECM jammer. The only reason Pump Up the Jam's first skill is going to have any play is because people want the extra ECM jammer. Playback. Spend one runtime to make a hack security camera loop its footage. Looping already existed. This skill is just returning in different form. Spend what they don't have the skill that lets you like zap cameras anymore, by the way. It allows you to blow them up and stun guards with them, so enjoy that while it lasts. It was silly and very rarely used. Spend one runtime to make a hack camera automatically mark all guards. Playback is just two skills that we already had rolled into one. No problem with it, because for the most part, I think stealth skills were fine. High marks. Take 4% less damage for each marked enemy within 10 meters up to a cap of 40. So now we just have a loud-only skill, really, pumped in the middle of a very diverse, stealth-focused setup. I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that. I think the fact you can dip in and out of the trees makes it a little bit better, but we'll see. But this is very similar to a skill that already exists in the game, although marking is no longer as easy as it used to be, because I think they've removed the skill that let you mark purely with throwables. So we'll see how well the marking builds work. Assumedly, it's going to be all down to like the laser mines and the marking devices. And pistol skills, apparently. Your damage reduction from marked enemies now extends to your entire crew. So that's kind of a nice support skill, but people hate playing co-op in this co-op game, so God knows how much play that's going to get. Radio Star. This is just the ability to hack radios. It's now on an absolutely massive respawn timer, recharge timer of 60 seconds. So it's a 5-second interrupt. When you ace it out, it becomes a 10-second interrupt, but it's got a 60-second cooldown. I think that might be a little too long. My play there would be actually just to reduce the cooldown for the ace instead. I think people might prefer that. Yeah, Judo Chop Ace is basically pressure points, except without the lengthy takedown animation. I think the fact it's done really quickly might make it more viable. Like the fact that you can just melee someone straight out of the blue might make it more viable. But we'll see. 10 seconds is crazy long. Yeah, so I think 10 seconds is kind of like too long, more time than you'd ever need with a distracted guard. But I think the ability cooldown is really lengthy. Electrical interference. This skill already kind of exists, and it doesn't see a lot of play, which I think is a shame because it's low-key really good. If I'm not wrong, though, It now works on everyone in your crew, whereas it used to just be you that was able to activate the stun for 5 seconds whilst it's active. Low-key, I think this is going to be really good, but again, people aren't going to really interface with it. Haha. And then you ace it out, you get the Zapper Battery Destruction. So not only could you get a Shock Grenade from destroying a Zapper's battery, you could also get an ECM Jammer back. That's fine, that's basically designed to self-sustain it, so you can keep activating any electrical interference. I like the skill, I just think it can be a bit clunky at times. But now the fact that it activates for your crew might make it feel a little bit stronger. Hitman reference. We're getting the collab, boys. We'll see. Ace should also proc off the techie too. Yeah, probably, because sometimes it can be difficult to find the zappers to actually hit their container, and then someone just kills them. Miss out on your chance. So I agree. Techies are at least more consistent to find. Pistolier. For each point in the skill line, handguns deal 2.5% more damage to unmarked targets, but 10% more damage to marked targets. 120% damage buff if you've got every point in the skill line. So, my prediction currently is we're going to see either an AR meta, maybe LMGs, we'll see how good the RPK is, an AR meta that's all about avoiding enemy armor, to not interface with that because it's hard, or weapon-wise, it's going to be pistols. They sound absolutely insane. For each skill point in the line, handguns receive an accuracy bonus of 5%, whatever, take it or leave it. Now, I think it's also going to be interesting to see how they denote handguns. So I'm assuming like the Gostini Viper, the Deagle, that'll be a handgun, right? Surely. But then like the revolvers, do they fall under handgun? Are they going to get access to any of this? I have no idea. Things like the Tribune 32. Is that going to activate this? No idea. Probably should, but at that point it becomes like a secondary skill tree, and they don't want to say that because they have a shotgun secondary in the Judge, which I assume will be impacted by shotgun skills. So, God knows how it's going to work. But it sounds crazy. Stockpile, that's just the handgun ammo skill. It sort of shows that they're willing to make handgun a serious primary style weapon at this point. Quick draw. While swapping to and from a handgun, your weapon swap speed increases by 20%, and your ADS speed also increases. Goes up to 70%. That's going to probably feel kind of good, and it plays into the like Hitman theme of it, but this is very close to a skill in Payday 2. While you're holding a human shield, a rare human shield skill, by the way. Bit of a shame they seem to have moved away from the human shields, but I can understand because I just don't think anyone was really bothering with them. But yeah, while you're holding a human shield and wielding a handgun, take 40% less damage. Again, is that going to work on the Judge? Got no idea. It's a funny one though, because like you don't really take a lot of damage whilst holding a human shield because they don't shoot at you; they run at you and melee you. So I'm not all up on this cheap trick one. Shooting stunned enemies with a handgun deals double damage. Now I assume this means electric stun and it means flashbang stun. Double damage. You're already doing double damage with pistols thanks to Pistolier. You're already looking at quadruple damage on a stunned enemy with a pistol. Kinda crazy. Killing a marked enemy with a handgun will ping the nearest unmarked target within 10 meters. So what they've done is they've sort of rolled Assassin's Metal and the marking skills into one and attached it to handguns. So now handguns will play around that sort of health style and the marking style. It does mean that you're going to be able to do it without like marking out specials in the first place, which I think is okay. If you ace it out, if you have one armor chunk or less, it's exactly the same as Assassin's Metal now. Killing a marked enemy with a handgun will heal you for 5 health or 30 health if you're below 75% of your max health. And it will also give you adrenaline overheal once you're up there. I'm pretty sure those numbers are exactly the same as what we currently have in game, except it's only attached to handguns. It is a shame that they're only attaching this to handguns, I think. But this is going to be really good, I think, and it's going to be an excellent playstyle. In some ways, they made it easier. You know, there's no silencer tree anymore. There's no suppressor playstyle. It's more based around the specific weapon category you're playing with. And then we have Bounty Hunter, one of the most convoluted skills in the entire game, but also kind of sick. Whenever you kill a marked special enemy with a handgun, receive a bounty. Zapper, get a tool back. We're going to have the entire map locked down with, what are they called? Trip lasers. That's going to be insane. Or you can run it with ECM jammers to potentially get 2 ECM jammers for electrical interference. Could be interesting as well. But yeah, Bounty Hunter seems monstrous. Nader, restore 1 throwable. Cloaker, heal for 20% of your maximum health. Techie, restore 1 broken armor chunk. Holy shit, I know techies are quite rare, but that's still huge. It's just a free armor plate. Dozer, restore 1 down. That's whatever, take it or leave it. Like, unless medic bags are very unpopular in the next patch. But yeah. Nader, Zapper, Techie, even Cloaker. Pretty huge. Being able to access additional copies of these things. The game isn't really balanced around it. So I think it is going to be insanely powerful. And so it does make me wonder, is every single player in the game... Also, if you're killing marked specials, the bounties are doubled. So you'd be getting 2 tools, 2 throwables, 40% health, 2 downs, 2 armor... This skill's broken. This skill's gotta be busted. No way is Bounty Hunter not gonna be OP. And, because basically every secondary counts as a handgun as far as we know, every build is going to be able to access it. So, what else is in the Hitman tree? So, Hacker. So, you got Black Hat. I don't feel great about this skill line. But I think, like, Flashbang pistol builds are going to be all over the place. It's going to be really strong. And in fact, you could just run all these Flashbang skills, pick up only Bounty Hunter, and then just whip it out to kill specials and get these free resources for your team. Massive staple skill. At least it's at the top of a tree. But yeah, Bounty Hunter is A, one of the most innovative skills they've ever made. But B, I don't think it's going to be balanced. Moving on. Flashbangs. Shine On. That's wonderful. For each point in the skill line, the stun duration of flashbangs increases by 10%. I'm guessing that's because their base duration is a bit lower, so that it has a slightly higher increase, so 120% more if you've got all skill points in the tree. And then the range will also increase by 7.5%, so almost 100%. Stockpile, carry more. Flash mob, flash grenades are silent, making them undetectable to anyone outside of the flash radius. You can see where this is going. Civilians caught by your flashbang grenades cannot flee or receive help from hostage rescue for 120 seconds. That also includes in stealth, meaning you can flashbang them to make them stay perfectly still without tying them up. The immediate usage I think of for this, the new smash and grab on No Rest for the Wicked is so hard because of crowd control. Flash mob might make it a lot more possible. Yeah, Commander, it might be a case of like Bounty Hunter not being necessary. It was a little like the Manipulator skill. There was a Manipulator skill at launch that like made it so your custody timer was really short. And during those first playtests, we were going into custody, so it felt amazing. But then when we got into actually playing Payday 3 proper, no one ever went to custody, so the skill was basically useless. We might never need these resources, you know? Like, tools might be really easy to come by, or we just don't need them. Throwables might be really easy to come by with Scavenger. Health not a problem, armor not a problem, down's not a problem, in which case we pass over this. My assumption is that the tools are going to be really useful, because being able to mark everything on the map is going to be very strong. We'll see. Anyway, I got distracted. What was I saying? Flashbangs. Yeah, stealth flashbangs. They're interesting, to say the very least. Enemies caught by your flashbangs are marked for the entire crew. So, keep in mind, smoke grenades can no longer do the marking. Flashbangs have to do it. If you kill a marked enemy while they are stunned by your flashbang grenade, they will drop an additional ammo box. In my mind, though, this was designed to synergize with pistols, so I get why they've done it. The double ammo box, we'll have to see if that's relevant. The ammo economy will probably be tighter if they're making cops tankier, but I have no idea. Hypersensitive. If your flashbang grenade hits an enemy before colliding with an object or surface, it will detonate on impact. I kind of like this, right? So they did get rid of the skill that allowed all your throwables to just detonate on impact. And that's a shame. Instead, it's just a grenade skill. But this one will allow you to do it with the flashbangs. Assuming it hits an enemy. Bit of a skill element to it, I suppose. But probably quite good. If your flashbang grenade detonates on impact with an enemy, the flashbang stun duration will last twice as long. This is basically the same as the grenade skill, where it does increase damage when it collides with someone. And finally, Sunburn. Enemies affected by your flashbang grenades take 50% more damage for each skill point in this skill line. So, what's that? Up to 180%. Good lord, that's actually quite a lot, especially with the extended duration. Enemies affected by your flashbang grenades will lose half their armor layers as well, which can only happen once per enemy. Which again makes me think, how many bloody armor layers are these lads going to be carrying? Sunburn could be amazing. Sunburn could be a really good way to make shotguns and SMGs very viable, because they don't seem to have any like armor pen skills built into them. Could be really good. How's it looking so far? I am cautiously optimistic, Harry. A little bit perplexed by certain skills, but we'll see how they're actually balanced when we see how many skill points they cost. Adrenaline Junkie. For every point in this skill line, all adrenaline you gain increases by 5%. So this is the sort of Fortitude skill line coming back, but it's a little bit different. This one has another skill that I'm like, what is this doing here? So, you max it out, you're going to get 60% more adrenaline from whatever source you're actually getting adrenaline from, whether that's healing through medic bags, whether that's healing through that dodge skill that gives you healing. If you have no adrenaline, while at full health, walking unmasked within 1 meter of a civilian will give you an adrenaline. Okay, this makes no sense at first. This is effectively the skill that granted you rush upon doing the same thing. And now, adrenaline is going to play the role of rush in Payday 3. I think it makes sense, since they've got rid of Grit Edge Rush. They had to find a surrogate for it, and that's what adrenaline is. And I actually think it's quite a clever use of it. So think of that this way, because adrenaline is going to be pivotal further down the line to make your stealth more effective. Because whilst you're unmasked, your adrenaline no longer decreases. Again, important, it means once you've got the adrenaline, you don't have to keep robbing up next to civilians to keep activating it, as we did with the Rush version. If you're unmasked and have adrenaline, you will move faster. Sounds like a bit of a no-brainer for these more social stealth style setups. Cameras detect you slower in private areas while unmasked, and employees detect you slower in secure areas while unmasked. Now, this doesn't require any adrenaline, interestingly enough. They're somewhat similar to the skills that used to do the same thing, where you wouldn't be detected as long as you had Rush, but you no longer have to run around trying to get Rush. Instead, it's just, with these skills, you're harder to notice while masked up. Hall Pass. While you're unmasked, cameras will not detect you performing illegal actions. Again, these are more just grifter-style skills. Employees will not detect you performing illegal actions while you're unmasked. It's grifter. It's just grifter again. It's a really good stealth skill line. You're not going to see a lot of it played in loud, but it's a good stealth skill line. Strong-armed. You can use throwables while unmasked. This is considered an illegal action, only if they spot you. Really interesting. So this is going to allow you to use throwing knives unmasked. So we're going to have way more stealth distraction techniques to get into certain areas. I do think this will break the game briefly. Maybe they'll fix it. I think certain stealth highs will be broken by this, basically. And then for the ace, you reduce the movement speed penalty from carrying heavy bags and items. Oh. What's that doing there? So you could run that with Beast of Burden to carry 2 heavy bags at full speed, right? It just feels so weirdly placed. I mean, it's a stealth and a loud skill, I suppose, but what's it doing there? Crazy. But yeah, you can flashbang unmasked as well. Flashbangs obviously have some stealth application too. I'm intrigued by the possibility of what we're going to be able to do with throwables and stealth. Mostly it's going to be flashbangs and throwing knives, and then trolls throwing frags. Although unmasked frags goes kind of hard. Finally, last skill. Seeing red. While you have adrenaline, gain a 2% damage bonus for each skill point added to this line. and your adrenaline damage bonus is increased by 3%. Why would they phrase it like that? When aced. Does that mean a 5% total damage buff bonus? I assume it does. 5% on each skill point? Or is it going to be 3%? I've got no idea. The way some of the numbers are written confuses me. Anyway, the 2% damage bonus, let's just call it 3% for the sake of this, times by 12, that's going to be 36%, potentially 60% if it is a big 5%. Adrenaline damage bonus when you have adrenaline active. The problem is, most of this skill line is about stealth. So, you're not going to have that many skill points in the line to get that much of a damage bonus. I think this is perplexingly placed. 2% for every point normal, 5% for every point when aced. I do think that makes the most sense. But ain't no way anyone's playing with all these stealth skills just to get the damage bonus for adrenaline, are they? It just doesn't seem like a very good way of running it. I don't know. Kill Posture. This is the Medic Bag skill line. For every point in the skill line, revive crewmates 5% faster, 60% faster revives. Pretty good. I think that is slower than the current increased revive speed, or maybe it's the same, actually. I thought it was 100%, but maybe. When you revive a crewmate, both of you are immune to damage for a finite period, 0.4 seconds for every skill point in this line. Really good skill. Made soloing possible when the game came out, because you'd use the crew AI as like an endless source of invulnerability. But now, even with 12 points, what? You're looking at just under 5 seconds of invulnerability. That's quite a lot for you and your crewmate. But only if you're fully acing out the entire tree. Heal Medic, this is just an extra medic bag. This is just an extra medic bag. But also, for whatever reason, they give you the extra medic bag way higher up. Like, they give it as a tier 1 skill in the medic line, but it's a tier 3 in the armor line. I don't know why. But yeah, these are all not that exciting, but fine skills. Scar Tissue. Okay, I have to question the idea behind this stuff. Okay? Current is 5 seconds, so it's just below the current if you've got everything in. Not so bad, I suppose. Your maximum health increases by 20 for each down you suffer. Increase your maximum health bonus for each down by 30. I don't understand these numbers. Hang on. Yeah, so if you ace it out, you're going to get 30. So less than double, even though it might be double the points. They're a bit all over the place in terms of that and the percentages. This is a bad skill. Don't give us skills like this. I might be coming from a point of very limited understanding. Maybe this is designed for people who are struggling with the game. That is true that you don't need the specific tiers of the tree to get access to things. But what I'm saying is this is literally scaling off the number of points added in the skill line. So you will need a bunch of skill points to get anything out of it. It's different to the other skills where it's like, oh, I can just hop into this. This one requires investment. Maybe because it would be overpowered otherwise, I don't know. But it seems like the sort of thing I would avoid because I don't want a bunch of dead loud skills in my loud build. Yeah, that's why I think it's slightly confusing design. Fabricate, yeah, I said the same thing about Beast of Burden. Like, I just think it shouldn't exist. We should all be able to carry 2 bags, but we should get full carry penalty. Dodge is going to be insane. I don't know. I don't know how I feel about dodge in the slightest. I think the things that I've pointed out as being crazy, I think smoke grenades are going to be really strong, and I think handguns are going to be really strong. Assault rifles might end up being totally busted. We have to see how the armor system works. But yeah, I hate Scar Tissue. Like, getting more health upon dying, you're being rewarded for playing poorly, right? Theoretically, like, an optimal way to play might be to play poorly. This might exist, like I say, for new players to try to help them to not keep going down. But my assumption is, you're literally getting endless health for going down every single time you do, and you can just... This is the question, right? Does it reset when you use a medic bag? I don't think it does, the way it's written. So it sounds like I could go down with medic bags. I could go down 20 times in a heist and have, what? Quick maths. 600 more health. Like, that seems ridiculous. But also, I don't want to spend time going down 20 times. That's not fun for anyone. So I think Scar Tissue is, I think it's bad in every sense of the word. Like, I think it's like low-key kind of OP, but also not fun to play around. There's a skill. I don't know if you guys play Monster Hunter. I've actually not played the most recent Monster Hunter. I played all the others before it. Pretty much all the others before it. There was a skill added, I think, in World, where you would actually be rewarded with more damage every time you like died in game. You carted. And it was super meta in speedruns and things. And that's so lame. I don't want to see people like killing themselves off just so they can like, do better in the heist. Scar Tissue gets a big no from me. Might be amazing, might be super broken, unlikely to be fun. Don't reward people for going down. It should be the opposite, right? Like you get bonus health for all the times, all the downs you have remaining. Then it has a fixed cap and you get punished for going down. What's my general opinion about the skills? Generally, I really like them. I think there's some really creative skills. I think there's some really powerful and interesting skills. I think there's some skills that could do with a little bit of work. Scar Tissue is a great example of that. I think it will be an improvement, and these skills could be ass, and it would still be an improvement in terms of immediate game feel for players because they're so burned out on Edge Grit Rush. That's kind of my my overall take. Anyway, any damage inflicted on your adrenaline is reduced by 10% for each down you've suffered. Does this have a cap? I mean, like, again. So I assume it's going to be, this will be multiplicative, and you could die 10 times. You wouldn't be taking 100% less damage to your adrenaline and becoming immortal. I assume you'd be taking, but like, taking a really significant amount less. Again, pain tolerance, Scar Tissue, I hate them. Stop rewarding people for going down. You also gain 25 adrenaline when you still lose cash. Perform a takedown. I love that you get it when you still lose cash. You will be stacking up adrenaline on heists like First World Bank. Or kill an enemy with a throwing knife, revive a crewmate, or when a crewmate uses your medic bag. That's all fine. I actually think that those elements of adrenaline are fine. The fact that you're getting less damage received every time you go down, bad, wrong. It's probably going to break the game because it sounds like it has no cap. This skill counts half the points in the pill pusher line towards your number of downs. Right. So, only this skill, I assume. So this isn't going to give you Scar Tissue freebies. But if you've got 12 points, you're going to have 6 downs from the get-go, meaning you're going to be taking 60% less damage to your adrenaline. If it is multiplicative and like downscaling, maybe a bit less. But that still sounds crazy. Pain tolerance sounds busted, but I don't even want to get into it. I think funky. I like the fact it works with throwing knives, though. Health Guru. Your medic bags now heal 100% of a heist's maximum health. That's fine. That's just a nice support skill for medic bags. Ace it out. Whenever you deploy a medic bag, you and all crewmates within 5 meters of the bag return to full health. This is really cool. This effect will also revive any downed heisters within its range. I like this from every perspective, because this is literally the like, I need a medic bag meme with Dallas on the floor. You hand him the medic bag. He's back to life. I think this is fun. I originally, when I first saw the skill, I thought the 5 meter radius might be a bit too limiting, but actually I think this is going to be a really fun way of doing it. And it's like the funkiest Inspire you've ever seen. Because it's faster to place a medic bag than it is to revive. Cool skill. Really cool skill. Did I say that? Hang on. Okagen 91. There we go. A little run-up required. Payday 2 subscription. I think it's really weird. I think it's a truly perplexing decision at this stage that can only be driven by like a need for cash flow. They see Payday 3 as this game that has a lot of players that aren't necessarily spending money on the game, and they're like, how can we sell them all this content that we spent ages making that is actually quality at an affordable price, so we're not really selling it to them? I saw KMD say earlier, like, it should at least be like you're buying off the price of the DLCs, and maybe I agree. Like, with this subscription, you get 1 DLC for free every month or something. I just think that the value proposition on it is crazy. And as I said earlier on the stream, like, people are going to find ways around it, aren't they? So, what can we do about it? Anyway, Health Guru, 10 out of 10. Big win. Thank you. You saved the Pill Pusher skill tree, because pain tolerance and scar tissue sound a combination of broken and kind of unfun. Sorry to say. Fortunately, I bigged you up. Cutthroat, the best skill line. I really like this one. Mio just had a little fun with it. Knife Expert. If your loadout contains throwing knives at the start of a heist, receive one additional knife for each skill point in this skill line. What is the base starting knife number? Is it 2 or is it 3? 2, right? So you should start with 14 knives from the get-go. Then you ace it out. For each skill point in this skill line, throwing knives will penetrate one enemy and hit whatever's behind them. That sounds bad, because throwing knives are these tiny little, very, like, precise throwables that are unlikely to do anything with that penetration, but you'll see. Also, I would like to point out, throwing knives are likely to remain, like, close to a one-shot kill on most cop types. If everything's getting loads of armor and health, throwing knives could end up being, like, the best way to take them out. We'll see. Speaking of damage, Deep Wounds increases their damage when aced out up to 60%. Fine. I don't know, wouldn't have been necessary in Payday 3 as it was, because throwing knives did plenty of damage already. But here, with this setup, it might do. Laceration. Throwing knives cause bleeding on targets. This is a cool effect. Like, we don't really have bleed effects in Payday, do we? We have the poison from Payday 2 on, like, certain melee. And we have incendiary effects. But this is cool, having built-in bleed damage. When aced out, it shortens the full bleed duration to 3 seconds, although that doesn't sound all that useful. But yeah, bleeding enemies will suffer twice the damage of a throwing knife directly to their health. Again, it makes me think they really are going to be tanky, and throwing knives aren't going to one-shot them necessarily. They're also going to receive additional damage from Deep Wounds, so this could be crazy. And it goes directly to health. I think it might be able to one-shot bulldozers, but don't tell them. Don't tell them. Fan throw. But here is where the throwing knife penetration gets a little crazier. When this is aced, you toss out 3 throwing knives instead of 1 in like a fan. So first of all, I'll finally land at least 1 throwing knife. I haven't seen how it plays in game. I know this will have been one of the harder things they actually programmed. But yeah, you've basically turned the throwing knife into a scattershot shotgun that will penetrate targets. They will bounce. They'll do all sorts of things. They'll make them bleed. They'll hit super hard. I think this is so cool. Then every 5 ammo, I think it's called Prison Shiv as well. Every 5 ammo boxes you pick up will restore 1 throwing knife, but you can no longer get knives from ammo bags. Or when aced out, it's only 3 ammo bags to build a throwing knife. This is probably self-sustaining, right? In theory. It's not quite self-sustaining, but it shouldn't be. You should need to do more to keep on top of your knife storage. If you're able to pick up at least 3 kills with every 3 fan toss, you will be able to pick up 3 ammo boxes and immediately replenish or restore that throwing knife. Oh, but it's only for 1 knife and you've used 3. I guess it's going at a 3-to-1 ratio. I do think keeping on top of your throwing knife ammo is going to be quite difficult, but it should be such a fun playstyle. If you have at least 1 throwing knife, perform a quick melee on an enemy will spend the knife instantly to kill your target. This one I'm a little bit confused about. First of all, doesn't kill doses. That's the first thought. Obviously, would be kind of OP if you could just trade 1 throwing knife for a dozer kill every time. I think this is neat. I don't think it's going to have an animation, is it, man? If they give it an animation, this will be cool. My perspective, though, is just throw the throwing knife, dude. And then you can pick it up again. Oh, of course, but throwing knives can be retrieved if they're in bodies. But if they're penetrating people, it's going to be harder to pick them up. I'm so... So first of all, let me get my initial opinion across. I think this is such a cool skill line. It's the skill line I'm most excited to try out. I think it's so wacky. We've never had anything like it in Payday before. But picking up the throwing knife is going to be a nightmare if they're penetrating through 10 people. You could have to be just scavenging the entire map to find them. So yeah, my main worry is that the knife economy is going to be bad. But if you're out of throwing knives, you may still quick kill enemies after a 30-second cooldown. That's fine. It just gives you like a one-shot quick kill every 30 seconds. Could be really good. Again, it really depends how tanky things are. This doesn't kill dozers, but the quick kill might be great against cloakers, for example. We don't know how fast the animation's going to be, or if it is literally just going to be the animation from for using a quick melee. I've got no idea. How are we feeling about knives? Hard to pick up knives, magnet gadget confirmed. There's a lot of challenge runs right there. Oh, honestly, when I saw the initial like Skills 2.0 design document, I was like, oh my god, finally. The build videos, the challenge runs. I do think this skill line is going to be so fun. It might be ass, and that's fine. Let's move on to Puppet Master. Immediately, when you saw the name Puppet Master, you were... Don't lie to me. You were like, oh my god, Jokers are back. They're not. They're not. I think that's... I don't think they'll ever be able to balance Jokers. I don't think they're keen to add them. Yeah. I don't think it says knives are pick-upable. Ah, that's true. It's not a base game feature, is it? It's a skill. So maybe you're never going to be able to pick up knives. God knows how the knife economy is going to work. I'm going to be trading cash for knives. I just want to see the playstyle in action, to be honest. It feels like the kind of thing that could be broken so easily, but I bet you just run out of knives in like 5 seconds, and I'm like, oh. Most disappointing thing ever. Okay, let's talk about the hostage line, though. Each hostage you trade counts as one additional hostage for every 2 points in the skill line beyond the first count. That count increases by 1. Okay, so you go up to 1 for the base, a potential 6 more, meaning 7 for a single hostage trade. That's already pretty crazy. I think hostages... I don't like hostage trading for the negotiation phase. I don't mind it between assaults, but I think the negotiation phase should be altered drastically. I think I've said this before. I think trading hostages in negotiation should change the way waves are composed. So maybe you get bulldozers slower, or fewer bulldozers and cloakers spawn, or there just should be no negotiation phase initially, and you shouldn't be able to extend that duration because it's just boring. Anyway, consumerism, increase your capacity. Consumable capacity, it's very similar to Stockpile in Payday 3 already. It allows you to carry more first aid kits or armor repair kits around. Notice there's no clean slate, by the way. So that kind of busted strategy is out the window. We are going to need more armor bags once more. Every guard, employee, or law enforcement you trade, it counts as 1 additional hostage. So now we're up to 8. Although that feels kind of low value compared to the other. And you can command up to 5 hostages to follow you at once. That's up from 3 in the current version of Payday 3. I can't wait to have like a gaggle of FBIs following me around. Scare tactics. Shout at nearby guards, SWAT or heavy SWAT, and force them to surrender. Already in the game. If the enemy stays in your sights, they will go down on their knees and drop their weapon. Dealing damage or looking away will cancel the surrender. I do find that a little bit frustrating. You can like glance to the side for half a second and they're like back up on their feet shooting you. Back up on their foot? Back up on their feet. Once taken hostage, the SWAT obeys the rules of a civilian. You cannot make more than 1 SWAT hostage at a time. However, you can increase that number to 3 when acing it out, which I think is fair. I think it's going to make cook-off runs a little bit easier. Maybe make the trading times more useful. But yeah, I'm fine with that, being able to take more SWAT hostages, because I think it's a little underused already. For every 60... Okay. First of all, this one's called Hello Human Resources. For every 60 hostages you trade, you gain 1 deployable bag from your current loadout. That goes down to 30, with the exact same effect if you ace it out. Okay, that sounds like a lot, right? But if you've got Magnetic Charm, Trade Broker, all skills aced out, it's actually 8 per hostage trade. So you're only going to need to trade 4 hostages to gain 1 more deployable. So you can stack deployables with this. I think it's crazy. I think it's a funny skill in how it's written and stuff. But It's so funny seeing like how far attrition has gone out the window. Yeah. Medic bag rain. Yeah, remember, you can use medic bags as instant revives now as well. That could be kind of interesting. But the point I was making before about there being no clean slate and armor repair kits being weaker, I think that's fine. Like, something's going to fill their place. We're going to find ways to like trade for more resources and things. It will be okay. And you'll still be able to just trade hostages for those things. You just can't go down to zero armor anymore. Insurance plan. Your crew gains 3% damage reduction for every tied hostage within 15 meters, capping at 25%. It actually goes all the way up to a 50% cap if you've got, what, 10 hostages within 15 meters. Okay. 50% damage reduction, basically for free, is broken. Insurance plan on paper, busted. Gonna make those very campy heists a little bit easier. I'd like to point out it also says your crew. So only one person needs to be running insurance plan. I think insurance plan's going to be basically, I don't think it's going to be that hard to hit the 80% hard cap on damage reduction with these sorts of skills in the game. The only thing that's going to keep this somewhat balanced is the fact that people don't like to stay in one place in Payday very often. People don't like faffing about with hostages very often. I've seen that because, to be honest, hostages are already OP in Payday 3, but we barely use them for their sort of hostage purpose. They're just used as, like, literal cattle to trade for resources. So it's a funny one. It's also at the top of this skill tree that's all about trading, and it's like, actually, mate, don't trade. You might be very hard to kill if you don't. So I feel weird about insurance plan. I think this is a combination of busted, but a little bit unfun. We'll see how much people play around it, though. People generally don't like grouping up and hiding by hostages. So, we'll see. Yeah, they have changed it, so Thermite won't immediately cancel negotiations now. This will make Cuck-Off a joke. Yeah, I agree. And like it'll be a staple for Cuck-Off. So, funny skill. Not ideal, in my opinion. That's another one in the thumbs down pile from me. Long shot. Ooh, we'll get onto Ricochet in a second. But head games first. For every point in the skill line, your headshot multiplier with sniper and marksman rifles increased by 1. I forgot this skill existed when I was first running through. You can grab, like, 4 points in the skill line, and you're just going to delete everything with headshots. Like, the SA is back, baby. You thought you could get rid of the SA? No chance. This headshot multiplier sounds insane. Assumedly, it's going to work on bulldozers. I think it's going to be really strong. Yeah, no Stockholm Syndrome, actually. That's weird. What's the default headshot multiplier? I think it depends on the weapon. Right. Or am I thinking about a different game? I think Payday 3, it depends on the weapon type. But increasing it by 1 is going to be a lot. I think you're going to be one-shotting a lot of things ahead. Snipers in the meta again. I wish they'd just add some more snipers instead of only having the R700, but hey. I think this sounds really good, and it sounds like you could run this without that many points in it and still get a hell of a lot out of it. For each headshot you land with a sniper or marksman rifle, your next shot will deal 10% more damage. Missing a shot reduces total bonus by 10%. Don't run this, I don't think. Don't think I'd bother with that at all. And that might just be because I'm bad at landing shots, but like a little bit like the accuracy skill in the assault rifle skill tree. I feel like the odds are your plus minus on this is going to be about 20%. Like for every, say, 4 shots you hit, you're probably going to miss 2 on average. So you're going to end up around that sort of like 20%, 30% mark. Might be a nice damage bonus, but if you're hitting only in the head anyway, do you even need the damage bonus? Like, this feels like a gimmick to get like a one shot on a bulldozer. But yeah, immediately I think the base version of head game sounds really strong, but the ace version not so much. Stockpile, it's just another version of stockpile, just for snipers this time. Skull trauma, headshots with sniper and marksman rifles deal 15% more damage. Again, it's more headshot damage, which feels Bit meh with head games potentially being broken, but again, we have to see what they do with the multiplier. Increase the reload speed of sniper and marksman rifles by 20%. That's pretty good. If you think about it, the previous reload skill we had in Payday 3 was like a 10% buff to reload speed. Yeah, it was on every single weapon type, but, you know, without any grit, edge, or rush, this is just reload speed, baby. Return policy. When you land a headshot with a sniper or marksman rifle, one bullet will return to your magazine. Very similar to a skill that was added around the ammo funnel debacle. Except the cooldown on it is absolutely batshit insane. And even when you ace it out for 3 seconds, I still don't feel like it's that good. Maybe on snipers it'll be okay. If we got like a Thanatos type sniper, it would probably be pretty good. It would help with ammo economy and things. But yeah, return policy is a bit of a bit meh. This is peak Mio funnel. Yeah, a little bit. A little bit. The SA does not deserve to have access to ammo funnel though, does it? Let's be honest. Armor piercing. If you land a headshot with a sniper or marksman rifle that breaks an enemy's armor layer, it will remove 1 additional layer. So this tells me one thing straight out off the bat, right? The expectation is snipers and marksman rifles won't be one-shot headshotting cops. Instead, it might be breaking a layer of their armor, and it might even be helpful for it to break 2, so you can 2-shot them. No idea how it's actually going to be, but in terms of how this skill is designed, the immediate thought is it's going to take a lot of bullets to kill cops, even sniper and marksman rifle bullets. It might also be good against dozers. I don't really know. But yeah, I'm not all in on armor piercing. I think it sounds a bit odd. It feels like if I'm having to strip armor layers with my sniper and my marksman rifles, something's probably already gone wrong, and I should just be using an assault rifle and circumventing the armor layers. Ace it out. When aiming down sights with a sniper or marksman rifle, your shots will penetrate through 1 additional target. This is a fine skill. Already exists in the game. I like it. Like, I like being able to get a triple collat with a sniper, but if this is actually quite an expensive skill point option now, I mean, it's tier 3. We have to see how they scale it. Probably wouldn't bother with this. Yeah, sniper SMG build. They both do involve stripping armor, so maybe. If they make secondary SMGs. Ricochet. Here we go. It's Graze. When you land a headshot with a sniper or marksman rifle, all enemies within a 2-meter radius of the target take 25% of the original shot's damage. It won't penetrate armor, though. Enemies within range of the ricochet now take 100% of the original shot's damage. Could be busted. Might be awful because of how armor looks like it's going to work and the fact it won't have any pen on it. I have no idea. The way I think it reads is we're going to hit a sniper shot. It might kill the guy we shot, but everyone else around him, they might just lose their armor, which could still be super useful, but I don't think we're going to see the kind of Graze multi-kills we have in Payday 2 right now. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Oh yeah, that's true. The FIC is a marksman rifle. I keep forgetting it exists, but shit, maybe the FIC is going to be incredible with Ricochet. That sounds so fun. It's like a faster firing contractor with Graze. Huh. But yeah, Ricochet, it's Graze. It's a cool skill. We all really like it. It makes snipers way more viable. It's like a Payday staple to make snipers feel relevant. Yeah, big up the FIC. Finally, some FIC love. Final tree, guys. Final tree inside the tree. It's Ammo Specialist. The most underused equipment type. For every point in the skill line, your ammo bags restore 5% additional ammo to all heisters. Fine. Your ammo bags restore 1 additional throwable for every 2 points in the skill line. That's actually kind of nutty. I mean, that could be really good. Hang on, I remember the throwing knife one. One of the skills make it so you can't pick up. Yeah, so Prison Shift makes it so you can't get knives from ammo bags. I'm not sure if that's going to be worth picking up. Bearing in mind, like, you could instead go to an ammo bag that you've got aced out and be getting, like, 6 or 7 throwing knives back every time. I don't know. Maybe. We'll see. We'll see how the throwing knife ammo economy works out. Again, ammo up 1 and 2. The fact that these are both in tier 2 and it was the same with medkits makes me think that there was a accident with how the armor one was set out. Because, yeah, this is an extra ammo bag, extra charges. Total of 4 extra charges and 1 extra bag. If you're running ammo, I think these are all going to be staples and you have to pick them up. Bullet Frenzy. Once a heister interacts with the ammo bag, they deal 20% more damage from primary and secondary weapons, as well as throwables for 12 seconds. So this is kind of high grain. When you ace it out, the damage goes up to 50%. Could be really good. If we're damage light, that 50% base damage bonus is going to be great. But I think conditional damage, we found out with high grain, people just don't want to mess around with it. They don't want to constantly be interacting with ammo bags. But only 12 seconds of damage bonus. I get it, conceptually. The idea is you do it like when there's a big group pushing you or there's a dozer pushing you. But I just don't think people like these skills or care for them that much. So I don't think we'll see a ton of usage out of it. The interesting thing is it also increases throwable damage. Maybe that has some sort of synergy there. Maybe it's there for my smoke grenade build with the poison gas. But yeah, I think it's true. I thought Bullet Frenzy was going to go the way of Bullet Storm. It couldn't have been a 60-second Bullet Storm. That would not have worked in Payday 3, but like maybe a 10-second Bullet Storm? I'd prefer that to what Bullet Frenzy is giving me, I think. Utility Belt, 2 additional throwables. Carry this on... See, this is worded so I understand that I only go up to 5 extra throwables. This can be used on any of the other skill lines that are focused around throwables. It's a bit inconvenient because it's on tier 3. Yeah, on the professional skill tree. None of these other trees are actually involved in throwables, so that's super inconvenient that they put that there, but hey. I guess if you really want to commit to that throwable build, you've got to go into Ammo Specialist as well. And then finally, Premium Bag. When you deploy an ammo bag or heisters within 5 meters, regain 2 throwables. It's similar to the effect of the medkit, except I think a revive is probably better than the throwables. And also, once the heister interacts with the ammo bag, they gain 0.8 armor penetration on their primary and secondary weapons for 12 seconds. Again, it's like Bullet Frenzy. It's a time-constrained buff. Micromanagement, that's the word we always use for Grit Edge Rush. It reminds me of that. But, again, seeing that it's going to give you 0.8% armor penetration, like that's a huge luxury, makes me think armor penetration is going to be insanely powerful, meaning this might be decent. And I think the way it's worked out is ammo is once again going to be the weakest equipment type. Armor is probably going to be the strongest. I just think the tree overall is the strongest. Then medkits, and then sentries might be crazy. They might be the strongest, but they're obviously in their sort of own category. Yeah, I think Premium Bag and Bullet Frenzy I would trade out for something a bit more ammo builds. Make them more viable. But I don't have a problem with them releasing like this. I just think, you know, Payday 2 skills were iterated over years and years. I'd be fine with it. Combined with the smoke grenade, 4,444% damage boost ability. What are we combining with that? Are we really buffing up? Because I'm assuming that is just a one-shot kill on everyone kind of skill. Be great with the LMGs. Dr. Bag with trading skills is going to be funny. I can't wrap my head around like what they've done with these adrenaline skills. So, in terms of like big wins from me, let's go top to bottom, and then I'll focus on some skills people are super interested. Okay, let's do 3 categories. Let's do busted, great, ass. Okay, Bastion immediately. We'll start with busted. Bastion is busted. This is a 30-second cooldown. It's gonna make cloakers irrelevant. Really good. Anything else busted here? I don't know. Head guard, I feel really on. Ammo funnel, not busted in my opinion. I think it's going to be really difficult to activate. And even when you are activating it, it's not going to be on the most impactful of weapon classes. Flat DR is generally busted. What have I missed that's giving flat DR? I agree, flat DR is generally busted. Yeah, oh, extra protection. Yeah. Yeah, we talked about the Ace version of this and how it just basically... It's the most complex way of saying when you're close to losing your armor, it becomes more protected. Yeah, extra protection. Busted. Agreed. So I do think this skill line is going to be very good. Rifleman could definitely be busted. We need to see how strong armor pen is, but like being able to get 1.2 armor pen is damn good. Mad Bomber seems like a fun skill, but I don't think it's going to be busted. Scavenger's going to be really strong again. I think it'll be a must pick up with so many of the throwables getting buffs. Oh, Ghost. I don't even know how to evaluate dodge. It's either just terrible or amazing. But like theory crafting this. So your maximum dodge chance decreases by 20% for each active armor chunk. You can just skip it. I'm positive you can just skip it. So, can't you just end up with, like, loads of dodge with none of the penalties? Like a full armored dodge build. 15% off this, scaling dodge off that, flat dodge off the smoke grenade, right? Sounds kind of crazy. Feels like Locksmith are cool. Definitely not busted. Multitasker in Spec Ops. When you break an enemy's armored layer with an SMG, the enemy becomes heavily staggered. Oh, the Perform a Quick Melee. I think this is such a cool skill. The stagger I could take or leave. Like, staggers are really good in Payday 3. They used to be very common, but now this is like one of the few ways to stagger. But yeah, multitasker is so cool. So cool. I love the idea of like a very high capacity SMG running multitasker. The only problem is if you go a high capacity SMG, you kind of get negative synergy with SMGenius, where you need to reload empty mags repeatedly. So that's a little bit funky. But yeah, SMGenius we don't think is going to be OP, but could be really good. You hate staggering, makes hitting headshots terrible. Yeah, but it does make the cops unable to like actually return fire. Which is pretty good on those like hipfire SMG builds. Escape Artist, I think this is going to be busted. I think this is like the easiest pick to say like, oh, it's going to be busted. I also think it's really cool, by the way. Like I don't think it's a bad skill at all. I just think it's probably going to be busted. Poisonous Gas. This is my sleeper pick. I think we're going to turn every heist into like No Mercy. What are the big changes? The whole skill tree system has changed. We're going away from a skill line system to a still loose skill tree system where you can kind of build across. So you can see they've built across here and then picked up over there. It's got some unique elements to it, and a lot of scaling skills, I would say, is a big thing. You have to sort of commit to a certain playstyle. Yeah, I think Poisonous Gas is my low-key pick for like most OP skill. Machine War, endlessly scaling sentry turrets, and you can bring 4 sentries, and you can repair them by meleeing them. This seems hilariously strong. Dropcloth is gone, yeah. How's Dropcloth been nerfed? I thought it was just straight up gone. Am I missing that? Shotguns, I think, are going to be interesting. There's nothing that makes me think, like, oh, they're going to be totally busted. Maybe the reload speed is nice because they don't get access to ammo funnel anymore. This damage bonus is probably going to be pretty good. But, like, maybe you're going to be one-shotting anyway. But yeah, the close-range damage... pretty straightforward free damage, isn't it? If you put close-range damage plus 60% into Payday 3 with its current skill system, it would totally rewrite the meta. That's how low impact the skills are in Payday 3 right now. So, it's kind of good. Is it live? Yes, Amir. It is alive. I'm not pre-recorded. Hello, Shill. Why is game bad? I thought it was good. What changed? Strokes beard. What are you on about? What are you on about? This stream on Twitch has like the most positive title I think I've whipped out in, check my watch, like about 2.5 years. Blow me away. Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't get paid nothing. Going off topic. noticed they've reduced the bundle discount. Yeah, it probably is related to the new subscription model. Spot on, Shotman. I wouldn't be surprised at all. Yeah, I'd say so. Your videos are always shilling, so you saying it's most positive is cute. Thanks for watching my videos, dude. Highly conductive. I don't know. This could be great. I really just don't know how these layers of armor are going to work. Definitely not overpowered at a glance. I think shot grenades actually feel like they're going to be kind of balanced again. But I assume they're still going to one-shot kill shields and things, so that's not going to be bad at all. While the ECM jammer is active, yeah, this is going to be more accessible thanks to the pistol skill, actually letting you regain more ECM jammers, but I don't know. The only thing that this has really got going for it is it's in the same overarching skill tree as Hitman. I think Bounty Hunter is going to be OP. Why am I not blushing? I am. Can't you see? I'm constantly red. The lighting since I got a backlight. Insane. Yeah, I think handguns are going to be really good, right? They've got... Marking is going to be so easy if you've got loads of marking tools. 120% damage is kind of insane. What else? There was another buff, wasn't there? There was another damage buff. No, I guess that wasn't a damage buff. That's probably for the best, though. Kizu, why do you think it's a downgrade for stealth? What is missing for you? So we're missing some hacker skills, like the ability to turn off... Oh, I signaled that on first read. The ability to like ECM and turn off cameras and things, that's gone, isn't it? I mean, that's probably a shame. People quite like that. Cam distortion. Cam distortion is the one that... Yeah, that is the one where you drop the ECM on it. You do get a lot of run times now. You get a billion run times for whatever reason. You feel like stealth's going to be piss easy? What am I missing? What's made stealth so easy now? The fact that you can like do throwables unmasked and stuff? Yeah, we're running through the skill rework. I'm currently going through all the OP stuff. Although I don't know if I missed anything. Sunburn might be really good. But again, sometimes the top skill line tree, the top skill in the line, also has a like for each point in this skill line. I think that's kind of a shame. They should just keep that at the bottom and let these stand on their own. Because otherwise, you're going to feel like you're not getting the full effect out of it if you're not fully built into it. Infinite knives. Yeah, that will be pretty strong. Will be pretty strong. I think you're gonna have to play some stealth with this setup to know. I think there's lots of skills missing that made stealth easier. So we'll see. Seeing red, like this skill just doesn't belong where it's been placed. Pain tolerance and scar tissue, busted, but probably like not fun because you have to get busted to make use of it. Throwing knives. God, I hope they're busted. They sound so cool. Insurance plan. Definitely very, very strong. Although kind of counter-synergizes most of the rest of the tree, which is funny. Ricochet. Could be great. Could be really good. I think head games as well. Could be really good. We still have carrying skills? We do. Two carrying skills. We got Beast of Burden, which acts like transporter. We've got to ace it out, though, to remove the movement speed penalty. It's actually quite high up in that tree as well, which means everyone's going to kind of build around Soldier, I suspect. And there's another one related to stealth, wasn't there? I don't remember where that is. God, there's so many skills. You got to give it to them. They've designed quite a few skills on this one. I think it was in like the ECM tree. Hello, human resources. You don't need to build up from the tiers. Well, you sort of do. I hate that this is constantly turning over. I have to go to this one all the time. You sort of do. Like, you need at least one tier 3 to access the other tier 3s in the same overarching tree. But it's very different. We have lost faster bag skills. I wonder if they could just compensate for that by increasing the rate at which we bag things so it's not slow. No catapult. You can't launch bags miles anymore. There are some skills that are casualties. It's a good point, actually, like to raise these kind of fan favorite skills that are missing, because there's nothing stopping them expanding this. Hey, North V Way. How's it going? North V. Really wish we had dominating as a base function. We nearly got it. We nearly got it. It was up for debate, wasn't it? Remember when they added that modifier, made it so God, what was it? It was, you were stuck in custody basically. It was like it was a final charge. They removed it sharpish, but the suggestion was like, just let us dominate for free. But yeah, the whole like Joker domination system, it's been stepped back from, and I know why, because they just can't balance it. Not including Joker's a war crime against the player base. They just can't balance it, dude. Also, I don't want that AI fighting for me. They're ass at this game. They make my accuracy look decent. Okay? Yeah, there's not a 0% chance some of the old skills just become added permanently. I suggested as much from Transporter. I really think they should just give us, like, an element of base Transporter, but make the bags weigh quite a bit, so there's a disadvantage to carrying multiple bags. I feel like having no converts makes sentries more usable. I mean, sentries are going to be insane with their endlessly scaling damage. I don't see how this is going to stay the same. What's it called? The Engineer it's under. That would make sense, wouldn't it? Machine War. Don't see this being left in this state for very long. I imagine it'll have an upper cap put on it. Because if you put an upper cap on it, it means that it can only ever get so good, and the 20% reduction is actually quite high impact. But now, if a few of your turrets basically pick up like 10 to 20 kills, they're going to be doing 100% more damage. You pick one up, it's like, oh no, now I'm doing 80% more damage. It's going to be like a self-fulfilling prophecy as well, because the harder they hit, the easier it's going to be for them to get kills and increase the bonus even further. I agree. They should have planned out a test build a long time ago. I think, just guessing, first of all, I've got no idea when this is coming. It could be coming out in 2025. I hope it's coming out in 2025. It would be wild to give us this much detail and it not to come out in 2025. But then they kind of did the same thing with Armor 2.0 and then changed quite a lot in that. So I have no idea. But my assumption for why there's no test build is all of this has only just been implemented into the game. But it has been on paper for a really long time, in some shape or form. So it's just been a case of like actually getting the boots on the ground programmers to sit there and make these functional. And I imagine some of them were really hard to make functional. Like the throwing knife stuff, I bet was a nightmare. I think this will spike player numbers. Alright, hot take. I think this will spike player numbers more than any other update has. I think we'll hit the big 3 to 5k range. Okay. I do think it'll have the biggest spike like since 2023. The question is, does that sustain? You know, are we seeing 3 to 5k in a month after release? Even more than Boys in Blue. Yeah, I think it will. I think it will. I'll get Mariner Top Hat to manufacture some hype for it. None of the Starbreeze team, the current Starbreeze team, are working on Den of Wolves. That's a completely separate project at 10 Chambers. Although I'm sure a lot of people have gone over. We'll go from 503k and back to 500 because the servers will die. No, Axelbyte will pull out all the stops, don't worry. I mean, it might be... people might hate it. The update might be poorly received, but I think people will be very interested to try it out. So I do think it'll have the most tangible impact on initial player numbers. We'll see. I could be totally wrong. I thought delivery charge was amazing, and I think we peaked at 1,000, so here we are. Highest peak since launch was 5,200. Yeah, when was that? Was that for, like... Are we counting the peaks we got when they released, like, the Return of the Classic Heist cook-off and things? Syntax was the highest. That was just the timing. Syntax was not a particularly well-received update. People just losing their mind at the techie. Yeah, I think the fact that delivery charge releasing alongside nothing, such a great way to set it up for failure. November 27th. Was that Syntax? What was that? Oh. The no RPK thing drives me up. I just don't get it. Can't leak it months ago. Put it in the splash art because you obviously intended to release it, and then just not bother. I think Syntax was December. I think it was the last update of the year. Elizabeth said that reason is very apparent internally. It's hang on, thinking. It's apparent amongst the partners too, but we can't share either. Maybe I'm just not as understanding. Yeah, Syntax was December 12th. Party Powder hit 3k, and that was with Armor 2.0 alone. And Armor 2.0 was really good. So much for the partners killing the hype, guys. Armor 2.0 was really good. But I'm not surprised it didn't have any sticking power, because the heist that came with it was kind of disappointing. Hope the update success isn't determined entirely by the Steam player count. I think it's just it's a half decent metric for us to use to know whether there was actual uptake. I'm not a player count poster, you know. I don't look at it daily and go, oh god, my self-worth is based on this. But I do think at a glance it gives you a good idea of like interest is sustained in any way. I'm sure there are more players on console, but I would still put money on Steam converting more sales. I think it's got an older audience who are more likely to like buy DLCs. Yeah, I agree. Armor 2.0 did kind of hard carry that. I've really enjoyed this lo-fi, guys. I'm going to be relaxing / study into this tomorrow. 100%. Alright, do you guys want to run through anything else? Is there anything anyone's missed, wants to hear some opinions on? It'll all be there in the VOD, but then I'm going to actually... I think... So originally I was just going to upload this, but I don't think I will. So I don't want to subject people to 2 hours of rambling. This is an exclusive to you guys, alright? I think it would be really nice, for my own mind, have the skills shown up next to like where they are in the trees. So I'm gonna hopefully do a little bit of editing to make that look better. Okay. I think it's way nicer to like see the tree and then talk through the skills instead of them being like disembodied down here. Someone asked at the start of the stream for me to play Wolf. Ah! Maybe I should change my character now while I remember. No ammo funnel for the shotgun. Yeah. But at least you take less damage while reloading. Any news on the secret? No. No, but the secret is really real. 2025. Let's see. I saw there were a few more posts on the Dragon Files. Heist is chatting about Joey. Joey the mobster. I think cop armor is going to be like player armor. That's an interesting question. I don't think so. I think it will quite literally be layers of damage you have to break through. So currently, it's like that they'll take the heavy armor SWAT and say, all right, this is a 100 health unit, the same as the light SWAT, but we're going to give him 3 plates of armor, all with 100 resistance on each. We'll say 75 resistance on each. So we're going to have to do 250 damage to the guy, except armor has more resistance on it innately. So maybe we'll have to do 300 damage to the guy to kill him. Something along those lines. Are the legends true? Are we back? So I hear. It's very similar to the skill system I imagine them doing. So I can't say I'm in any way disappointed with the sort of format or the overall ideas. This goddamn knife skill trees got me doing all sorts. I'm pleased as well because it looks like they intend to release them all together. It would have been very easy to just like release a section of them when they were done. Any bets on when this comes out? I was saying before the end of the year, but I don't know. We had an update just over 2 weeks ago. I would expect something in October. Maybe they'll finally drop the RPK on us. Legacy heists are probably easier to make than original heists. I think what they've been doing recently on the Quiet is making new heists that are heavily based on legacy heists. A dodge build's finally back. They're way more back than they used to be. I mean, we have a whole dodge line. Smoke grenades actually have dodge skills based around them. I'm really confused about the maximum dodge chance. Oh, it's your maximum dodge chance. Oh, you dummy. So obvious. Meaning, you have a 100% chance to dodge max without any armor. And it drops in terms of a maximum based on all the armor chunks you bring. But again, the question remains. Do I need to pick up this skill? Like, can I just not get this dodge skill? Is it balanced by the fact I won't be able to get enough passive dodge otherwise? Because I'm saying I'm not picking up this dodge skill if I'm using heavy armor and I'm running smokescreen, right? Because then I get 25% dodge for free, and I don't want to be capped at 20%. Interesting. Maybe dodge is going to be monstrous, because that isn't a reduction, it's a max chance cap. So with one plate, you're 80% dodge, 25 there, 25 there. Please don't make me stand still. Oh well. That's 50% immediately. Sprinting around, we're going to be at 65-ish. That's a very Payday 2-like number, 65%. But then we also, every time we actually do get hit to our armor, and I guess you'd run this probably with like the auto-replenishing plate, the Payday 2 style plate. Oh, your target. So much for the raid. Could never quite cut it off right, could I? Thank you so much. Welcome in, everybody. We're just talking about flow state. I'm in my flow state. That's normally what I say when the beverages are going back easily. Yeah, so you're going to have 50%, 65%, and every single time you take damage, it's going to go up by 7.5%. That aced. You're going to be dodging a lot. You are going to be dodging a lot. I don't know how I feel about this healing, though. I generally do think that there's going to be... We're going to go from having like 2 or 3 builds to like 20 plus, you know? I am seeing build synergies as well already. Yeah, me too, your target. Me too. Hope you get more than 7 loadouts. That's a good point, actually. We're going to need a mod otherwise. Let's just Payday 2 all over again. It's a very similar design, like philosophy, but they have changed it up. Yeah, like immediately I'm sort of thinking... Commando core for assault rifles, grab Bastion from Juggernaut and Beast of Burden from Juggernaut because they're going to be like staples. Grab Scavenger. It's actually funny because this looks like a kind of like a meta type build already when I look at this. So it's kind of funky not picking up any assault rifle skills and then being like, yeah, give me ammo funnel. I do want to point out that they had this the other way around. Like breaking point doesn't exist anymore. Wait, oh no, it does. Originally, it was the armor pen skill at the top. That's interesting. That makes me think that armor pen is going to be, like, actually insane. They were valuing armor pen above ammo funnel. The dreaded ammo funnel. Yeah, come on. Starbreeze loves edging on the side of bankruptcy. They love edging. I can't believe they're taking it out of the game. Can't believe it. Do they nerf social stealth skills? Not really. Got its own tree. They basically tied them to... Oh, sorry, Mike. They tied them to adrenaline instead of rush. So anything that used to require rush probably is based on adrenaline now. So like moving up next to someone with no mask on is going to give you adrenaline. The adrenaline is going to give you movement speed whilst mask off. Do we have Jokers back? No, no Jokers. Do we have a version of Solid? No. I think it's a shame. I think there's only one hostage... There's a few hostage skills, definitely. You can now bring 5 hostages around with you, but Cheap Trick is the only human shield skill, which is a massive shame. I guess it just shows how few people actually interact with the human shield mechanic. And how hard they are to balance. And this is ass, because you don't really take any damage when holding a human shield. Yeah, I think the Payday fantasy, it's not really heisting fantasy. Ain't no one converting cops in a real heist. But the Payday fantasy of Joker is massively missed. Yeah, I think Cheap Trick should buff your handgun. Completely agree. Deal more damage. That would give you way more reason to pick up and work around human shields. I could say that. I have already done quite like dedicated notes. So I'd be interested to see how much things have changed when I first wrote them. You think the current human shield skills in Payday 3 aren't... Yeah, they're not great. Solid used to be amazing. You used to be able to basically break the game with it. But they nerfed it. Reload speed while holding a hostage. Yeah, that'd be fine too. Just something a bit more active rather than passive damage reduction, which isn't relevant because no one's shooting at you. Here I am taking a hostage and then showing my ass to them so I can take 40% less damage. Dedicated human shield and Joker skill tree. There's always room for... The thing is, they're not going to release another single skill tree. They would have to release another, like, triple tree. So I don't know what that would be. Like, what are we obviously missing? If we had special weapons, we could have, like, a special tree. Oh, C4 tree, dude. Finally, C4 and saws, baby. Yeah, we could get things like C4 saw skill if we had those in the game. Maybe we have, like, a human shield focus tree that has some Joker activation. I don't know what it would be necessarily. Some Stockholm Syndrome type skills. A Kimbo tree. Huge shout. There we go. I've already created the next skill line. Rework overkills again, so it's a tree instead. I mean, you could add overkill functionality, I suppose. I assume they're not going to count the overkill weapons as, like, their class. Like, I assume the Red Fox isn't going to be considered a sniper. Melees? Yeah, melees would be good. Melees would be huge, actually. And the fact that they keep referring to it as quick melee makes me think, oh, they're definitely leaving it open. Don't really know what's holding them back on melee, other than the fact that, like, there's a long list of other priorities and melee's not in there. It is pay to win melee. Buy jacket. Win game. Alright, guys. That's been an absolute pleasure. That was actually that was good chat. Good chat. I don't think by any stretch of the imagination, I don't think this is perfect. It will need iterating upon. A few skills I really dislike. A few skills that I think are going to be really overpowered. But there's a lot of skills I think are genuinely fantastic. Will I condemn you to the biker heist for a few years on DSOD? No, thank you. God, I live in fear of that because I basically only ever do it on Death Wish when I think about it. This goddamn 1 hour of smooth heist vibes has like kept me going. It's kept my energy up, alright? You know you can put motion sensors on guards and it will stay? Yeah. It's a classic stealth strat, that. Motion sensors, you can put cameras on them to follow them with the micro cams. Perk deck update. The thing is, perk decks just won't fit. All the survivability is built into armor, right? And then there's some survivability built into. I don't see there being room for perk decks. I'd love to be wrong. Yeah, overskills are meant to be perk deck like surrogates. And I think at some point we were meant to be getting some new overskills that were like more like the interceptor, like more like something you didn't bring out. So we'll see if that ever happens. Perk deck should not come back. Yeah, I do see people, especially the people who are proper fed up of Payday 3, living in fear of that outcome. The problem with perk decks is they were so hard to balance because they either had to be amazing at keeping you alive or they were useless. Some hot Payday gameplay I'm watching. Do we have skills for gadgets? Yeah, we have some skills for the handgun skill for picking up tools and gadgets, getting more of them. And there's some ECM skills. The ECM feedback skill's still here. Please not a raccoon. Don't do that to me. Wait, you did say perk decks twice. But you know what? I read it like it was normal. About it. Right. What's going on? No, that's me. Don't listen. Don't start. Oh, God. Oh, God damn it. All right. Thanks, Raccoon. I got it. I'd rather not do that. But I'll put it on the list of suggestions alongside Payday 2's Gordon Freeman. They're all in there somewhere. Can we finish up by watching you Payday 3 stealth blew my load away? No. No, I also don't think... I think that's the least interesting video because most of those takes actually hold up. Like, stealth is kind of good. And I think all my complaints around it were probably, like, fair enough. Next heist before the end of the year, maybe? I know absolutely nothing on new heisters. I know Sokol's been the most rumoured, but no idea. Absolutely no idea. Alright, I'm going to go work on the script for my Skills 2.0 video. I won't necessarily go into quite as much detail as I just did with you guys, but I will at the very least be covering all the skills, so that's going to take me forever as well. We do need a crowbar in Payday 2. Well, I mean, you can pick them up, you just can't hit people with. But yeah, it's been a pleasure. Thank you so much for so many of you joining me on this little Skills 2.0 adventure. Let's see how well they're implemented in the game when they finally release. No news on that, unfortunately. Finish Guy would be proud. Kizu, it's all good. Don't worry about it. We'll get there. Alright, guys, take care. I'll see you soon. I promise I'll stream more often like this. Promise.